you have to include the Leroy Jenkins video. The downside of it is it was fake. That's the only part.
Oh, yeah.
The part I don't like.
It doesn't matter.
It matters a little. Just a little bit.
A little. Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. It's fine. It's a cool thing that people were getting together using World of Warcraft to make funny. It's a skit on World of Warcraft, you know.
Yeah, but it was presented as real, and then they denied it for a long time, and then they finally said, "Oh, it's a
reality
recreation."
TV.
It matters a little.
And anyone who plays WoW
I don't know,
and watches this, you know, it's funny that people were at the time we weren't sure whether or not it was real, because what they're saying is completely ridiculous. You know, like I ran the numbers, and I think we have, like, I come up with a 32% chance of survival, and like no one who played in Blackrock Upper Blackrock Spire at the time would have done that. It's completely silly.
Yeah.
And the fact that people were wondering, and when I say people, I mean I include myself. I wasn't playing all that much at the time, so I didn't realize. You know, I was still a wee mage grinding through the early levels, and I was like, oh wow, maybe that's actually an actual thing that happened. And of course not. It's obvious. Go and check it out again. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but some of that stuff, like you said, like I wasn't raiding in 05, so I didn't know. And it sounded real when I first saw it. And then when I found out it wasn't, and I heard it was based on something that happened, so they recreated
that's what rating's like. There's a lot of number crunching.
Yeah,
and stuff.
but I'm telling you, it would not have been the meme it was had people known it was fake from the get-go. I'm telling you that is absolutely 100% true. There's no way.
Course. I think people looked at it and people were and they were like, oh, holy crap, this is what this WoW game is, and look at the funny people playing this game, and look at what happens. That's what they're doing all day in their dark rooms. That was certainly a factor of it. But,
sure. Anyway,
but you know, even beyond this, I think. Do you remember back when like half of YouTube was essentially WoW videos? It was enormous. You would have machinima everywhere, and it was like there was an entire subculture that sprang from WoW that was WoW YouTube videos. There were so many of them. There were songs and scripted stories.
It's
and
quite literally the Minecraft of its time, because Minecraft right now is just that's the thing on YouTube.
There also wasn't this like Twitch thing that we have now, so a lot of people were watching gameplay on YouTube, right? So you were going to find like the number one warrior PvPer, and he'd put together like a 10-minute highlight reel of him killing people in old school, at Wrathy Basin or whatever, and that was awesome because that was the only way you could really consume that. And I was on YouTube all the time looking for stuff like that.
And now Minecraft, it's funny, Minecraft dominates YouTube, but not so much Twitch. It's up there, but it's not like the one that it's not in the top 5 ever.
There's one guy who's always at the top, but yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's for whatever reason, YouTube seemed like a better home. Yeah, it's funny. This stuff.
It is. You can edit your video up a little bit and stuff. It doesn't have to, because live, it's like there's a lot of running around doing nothing.
A lot of downtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you could argue, WoW. I don't know, some of that.
Same way. Well, WoW actually isn't very popular on Twitch at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true. It's in the top 15
low. I
or
think
something.
It's because people don't really like watching raiding as much. The top streamers are all PvPers.
Yeah.
Raiding's a little tough to watch because you're not there. It's tough to see what's going on. The UI is very complex, whereas PvP, it's like, these battles, these short battles.
Hey, guys,
you get to see like, oh, he won, he lost, whatever.
Guess what? Esports, here to stay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, people like the esports.
Yeah, if you like the esports, you're in. Yeah.
What was the Druid rap song? Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Hold on. We're going to find it. Druid rap.
Resto Druid rap song?
No, it was a Laser Chicken.
I want to be
rap
feral. Druid rap Kamehameha. I don't know.
Here it is.
These are all from 2009.
Was it this one? I'll play it.
I want to be feral.
Is this the
No.
one? Okay, hold on. Boy, that was terrible.
It went like Druid. Do you remember?
No.
No.
Okay,
Chat room.
Resto Druid. Here's this one. Tell me if this is it. Okay, hold on. Skip ahead. That's not it.
No. If it was like Drew, then it sounds like you're saying it's like the Soulja Boy song.
Yes, that's what it was.
Oh, so what's it called?
So look up like Druid Soulja Boy or something like that.
All right, I know this is dumb to do on live thing, but I think this will be great. So
crank that druid boy. There you go.
What is it? Crank
dat. Yeah, D-A-T. Druid boy.
Okay, here it is. Here we go, folks. This is it.
Boy, chicken wing.
This is so old.
Got this new dance called the Druid Boy. All you gotta do is
watch me. Crank that Druid boy. Crank that Druid boy.
The video is just nothing but chicken form doing his dance.
It is amazing.
That's great. And
hilarious. 2008, by the way, so that's a little more recent. But
wow,
yeah, crazy. Anyway, well, that was fun. Hey, I got a couple of details about heroes I think people in WoW might be excited about. There's some new stuff coming, including this. It was data mined from 6.2. When you reach level 20 in Heroes of the Storm, you'll receive Graves, a new pet based on the big grave golem in the mines level of Heroes of the Storm. What was it called? What was it? Dark Mines, Lost Mines, Dead Mines? Dead Mines?
Dead Mines.
I think that's it.
Wait, no, not Dead Mines.
What is it? Something.
It's not Dead Mines.
The Lost Mines.
Dead Mines is the 5-minute one.
Whatever. The one where you go underground and gather skulls. That one. Mm-hmm. You get one of those as a pet. I assume it's what would be the classification? WoW. Just they don't have undead as a qualification. Whatever it is. It's not creature.
Haunted Mines.
Yeah, Haunted Mines. That's it. Anyway, you can get him as a pet in World of Warcraft. His name is Graves, and also. There's a Hearthstone card back, portrait borders, and other stuff are also revealed.
The Hearthstone card back is amazing.
Dude, if you saw the video with the Hearthstone card back as the mount in Heroes?
Well, yeah, so so if you have 100 wins in Hearthstone, you get the mount in Heroes, the Hearthstone mount. Yeah.
It's a card, like a magic carpet card.
Right, on a Hearthstone card. Yeah.
Amazing. And then
you
on
can
the
already
other
get essentially it's a reskin. You can already get a magic carpet.
That's true, yeah.
So, but it's still awesome.
So the other, I bought the tiger, by the way, because I'm a giant sucker and I had to do it. The freaking, what was I going to say? Oh, on the other side, the Heroes of the Storm card back for Hearthstone is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's animated. It spins. It's the coolest.
It's like the only one I want now, to be honest. I think that.
Yeah, I have the Tespa one now, which is a super cool.
Yeah.
I think it's the prettiest one they put out. It's kind of a pain that not everyone gets to have it, but this will be my go-to.
You don't like the cupcake one from last month?
I'm okay with it. It gets sparkles and stuff.
I don't know if I feel good about bringing that one out.
You don't want to bring out your cupcake?
I think about
card
it.
Back?
Think about bring out my cupcakes. Anyway, so that's going on, and man, that game I played. So I bought sort of sight unseen. I did a quick practice run, and then really liked what I played. So I picked up Kalthus with this new patch for Heroes, and he's really fun to play. I
haven't messed with him yet, but I've played against him a lot, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, his I forgot the name of the bomb now. Living Bomb, which infects whoever he hits with it, and there's just nothing you can do about it. That thing's going to pop off. It does damage over time, and then a final explosion. Eventually, you can expect that thing to blow up everybody around you, and it seems a little OP at this stage. I'm not entirely sure we'll see him.
There's because when Sylvanas first came out, she seemed very OP to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a couple of things that are in play. One is that it's a new ability. It may not be tuned correctly yet, but also that people aren't really sure how to play around it or what to do to defend against it yet. And with Sylvanas at first, it was just like, wow, she can shut down enemy mercs and she can shut down enemy towers and all that. That just seems ridiculous. Plus, she's doing a ton of damage. And she's a specialist. She shouldn't be doing as much damage as the assassins. Mm-hmm. But I think over time, it's like people just kind of figure it out,
Yeah.
It's like triple tap with Nova. I used to think that was just the best alt to take, but now I realize it's so easy to defend against once people realize how to do it. So now you never take it.
Yeah.
The game will even itself out. The players will figure it out.
I think they will too. His one ability, I can't remember the name of it, is freaking what's the other one? What's Q?
You talking about an ult?
Q. No, it's Q.
Q. Flame Strike?
Flame Strike is really easy to get around.
Sure.
Because that thing's slow as shit. And like you hit the ground, it's like, I'm here, everybody. It's like an announcement that I'm here, but I gotta fire myself up. Okay, everyone get out. All right, it blows up, nobody gets hurt.
There's a lot of here, like if you've ever played Gazlo has the ability that just kind of builds up over time and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally you let it go, and so everyone sees it coming, and then you just get out of the way of it. There's a lot of stuff like that in the game, but you can still do it effectively. You just have to catch people off guard and lead people a little bit, and it's just little more planning out.
When you're used to attending the Church of Tassadar, which lately I've been doing a lot of. His Psionic Storm is kind of the same thing, but the effects are immediate. So as soon
as you get a little bit of damage, but you don't get the full effect.
Right. You hit that thing, and you get them, and then of course you can augment that. But man, for me, it's all Thrall and Tassadar these days. I freaking love those guys. Anyway. Little update in Heroes.
You should try Vala. I think you'd like Vala a lot. Vala just does a bunch of damage.
Yeah, I play her a bit. She's like at level 8.
You get out and you get in, and you're always like bobbing and weaving a little bit because you're kind of squishy.
She's a harasser.
But man, you do damage.
She's a harasser from hell. She can bug the hell out of you and make you pissed. I mean, they're teams that if you play her right, she'll incite a lot of anger, and she can get out of there so quick. Her escape move, essentially, her vault is really hard to contend with. But her skin, her holy angel skin, was on sale for $5. Yeah, I went ahead and bought that too, like some kind of weirdo. Anyway,
I'm wondering if we're going to see any changes to their model, because their model works pretty well because the game is super fun and everything is just like, it just feels like you just want to. I just want that. Like I don't need it. Whatever. I just want it.
Yeah.
And I'm having so much fun playing the game anyway.
Yeah, wanting it's tricky. Hard to get players to pay for things they want. Well, that's not true. Like in life, we buy a lot of things we want, but in games, we're more skeptical. They've overcome that for me. I don't have a problem saying, "Ooh, that tiger, I want it." Burp. Here's $10. You know, like it's not been a problem, or it has been a problem if you look at it that way. Because I kind of have no problem throwing money at heroes, whereas I won't buy a mount more at Warcraft.
You're spending a lot of time playing the game, so I don't think,
Right, but like I spent a lot of time.
It feels totally justified when you're playing the game this much for free already, and then something comes along you want. You're like, okay, cool.
I think you're right.
That's this much worth.
That's the difference. That's the difference. If I'm paying $15 for WoW every month, I'm not as motivated to go spend $25 on a mount. But if I'm playing this free to play game and I see a rad new mount pop that really is just a cosmetic and it's $10 for whatever reason, I just feel more justified. So. Yeah. Now, if those mounts in that game were 15 or 20 or 25, no way. I don't think I'd be nearly as quick to do it. I think
that's the thing. They have to find the correct price points on all these things.
Yeah. Anyway, that game's great. Freaking love it. I got an interesting email from a listener that I thought was interesting to bring up at this point of the show, and we'll do it real quick. It's from Bwub is his name. Says the MC reboot is often used as evidence to support the you think blah, I can't talk. You think you want that, but you really don't argument that Blizzard tosses around willy-dills-nilly, he says. To the contrary, I think Warlords of Draenor MC is a perfect example. What does he mean when he says MC? It just occurred to me.
Molten Core.
Oh, Molten Core, duh. Yeah. Was a perfect example of the negative effects of removing virtually all the barrier to entry. In my opinion, the experience is more important than the content itself, and the experience seems to be something that cannot be recreated or in the current WoW, and this is why there was a groundswell around private servers. Would love to hear you guys discuss. What do you think about that theory?
I think there's definitely something to it.
Yeah. What do you think, Patrick?
I think it's wrong.
Oh, look at this. All right, but contrary Patrick. And that never happens. Never happens. Okay, go.
Well, first of all, I don't know that there is a groundswell around private servers. I mean, is there that much interest in playing vanilla WoW compared to before? I
don't think there's like 7 million people who want, but I think there is a certain amount of people who really want this. And
for sure,
they're on like the subreddits and stuff talking about it, and they want to be able to play. Just BC
there
the way
has
BC
always,
was.
Yeah, but this would be the same. This would be
always been people saying that they want it. But I mean, I'm sure Bwub, who is the person who sent us this email, would prefer that kind of thing. But what he's talking about specifically is the barrier to entry removal. Essentially, for Molten Core, if you weren't playing back then, there was an enormous barrier to entry. You had to go through a very long series of quests and a lot of grinding to get your reputation with the right faction and to get the items that you needed to gain entrance, to gain access to the raid zone. And you needed to get a tune. That was a very big thing in MMOs, and it serves a purpose. It gives you, first of all, it gives you something to do, and then it allows for people to be ready. Usually, when they enter the thing, you're sure that they have a certain amount of experience with the game. But, not the level of barrier to entry you needed for Molten Core or even for Karazhan back in Burning Crusade, which was a lot lower than you needed for Molten Core already. They had made it easier. It was discouraging. And Dills, you were saying not an hour ago that you were tired of having to grind reputation.
Oh, absolutely. But I think that there's both sides of the story. Like, I'm tired of it. Most people are tired of it. But I'm not going to say that some people don't want it. And some people do want it. Some people they wanted to. And I remember getting attuned for Karazhan, right? Like, we had to go get whatever. It wasn't that tough.
Right.
It wasn't like Molten Core was. But then I remember once I had it, going in there and being like, yeah, I did that. Awesome. And like that did kind of feel good. But to me, I don't want to do it again. And I personally don't. But I can't argue that the way I like it is the way everyone should like it. Yeah. So
no, but then you can't have an opinion about anything because there's always going to be someone that disagrees.
No, I have an opinion, but I also think that it's okay for people to want these private servers because they don't get in the way of anybody else.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about private servers.
That's not the argument, though.
But then, hang on one second. Let me just say this: the private server problem is this. To say there's a groundswell of interest in private servers in WoW is like saying there's a groundswell of interest for somebody to go hack an old Super NES ROM of Link to the Past and convert that to HD today. Is there interest in that? Yes. And are people doing it? Absolutely. Is it a groundswell? Hell no.
No, not a groundswell.
It's like 5 people, or in fact, I'll bet there are more people interested in that Link conversion than there are people interested in vanilla WoW. I said it. All right, Patrick, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think the argument that, again, Bwub is making is that actually people would be the player base of WoW, and maybe I'm misunderstanding his argument, but he's saying that the player base of WoW would be happier if you brought back these kinds of barrier to entry for raids and basically making the game more difficult. I think that's what he's saying, and I disagree with that assertion.
Yeah, no, I think what he's saying is that there are negative effects to this, to not having a barrier at all. And those negative effects are people dip their toe in and then never do it again, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas if you worked really hard to get in there, you would then feel like I need to then now go ahead and continue doing it. Really kind of milk the experience for all it's worth. But I don't think you can use Warlord's version of Molten Core for this argument because it was never meant to be something that you did a bunch of times to grind for gear and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It was meant to be something you go in, do it one time to, remember.
Right.
And then get your Core Hound mount and then never do it again. That was really what it was.
Here's what I bet you would happen to me if I joined a vanilla server today. I would go, ooh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm in now. Why does this look like shit? What happened over there? Oh, that's right. I don't have that thing anymore. I have to buy arrows. I'm out.
Yeah.
That's what would happen because that's what nostalgia is. It's this thing. I mean, there's always exceptions, but it's this thing that tells you everything was better then. And then you go, if there's a way to create then, you're reminded, no, Molten Core was terrible. It was not good.
But you right now, if you think back on those days, you remember the good times and you don't remember all the stuff that really sucked, right? And then if you get reminded of the things that really sucked, then you go, oh yeah, those things really sucked.
Yeah.
But like I downloaded all these old, NES and N64 games, and I was super excited about them, and I played them all. And I had fun for 5-10 minutes, and then I was like,
cool. Oh yeah, there's a reason we moved past some of this.
Yeah, and it's fine. And I liked it, but I also kind of wish that I hadn't ruined the nostalgia because now I can't look at GoldenEye and think that game was just the best shooting game of all time. I went back and played, and I was like, wait, it aims for you?
Yeah,
this is stupid.
It was a weird. That's a great example. GoldenEye is maybe one of the best examples. It just felt like this, and it was groundbreaking. Let's not. Let's not give it the credit it doesn't deserve. It's just that we very quickly learned from what that was and went on. And when we went on to was better and better and better. And then if maybe there's a dip here and there, but it's still better.
I don't mind like a small amount of attunement, but it used to be overblown. I think that if you just have to finish a storyline or something, just to kind of understand what the story is that you're entering, I think there's something to be said for that. And I get that kind of sense of we should kind of know what we're getting into before we get into it, right? Whereas now people no one reads quests, no one does anything.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the new
no
raid,
one ever
give me
read
the purple
quests,
stuff.
but...
Sure, but I mean, you were kind of forced into a little bit of it when you had to do, especially when you didn't have just a dot on your map that said this is where to go do the thing.
Yeah, and
everyone was using add-ons.
Quest helper, I know.
No, it's all true. But even in vanilla, I don't know if you guys remember this. I remember this. Very early, you couldn't turn on the instant text in a quest. It would write itself out. You'd hear the little pen on paper going the whole time, and you had to wait in order to accept it. So they kind of were trying to make you read it, and then they added that option, and that kind of went away. But yeah, I mean, whatever.
That was the first, Scott. That was the first thing that they made to make WoW a baby MMO.
That was the very first step. Yeah, that's right.
The first, if we could go back in time,
yeah.
If we could go back in time and, obviously, first of all, go kill Hitler, and then, although we could have a debate about that, but then the next thing we would do, we would go into the room where, there was all of the devs and Pardo and everyone, and they were like, should we make the text the quest text instantaneous? And you're like, you burst into the thing and you're like, no.
Yeah.
And you like throw pizza everywhere, so they start thinking about something else.
They go, this guy throwing pizza around must be reputable. We should listen to this guy.
Yeah. I read by the way, remember, I don't know if you guys remember on the show, I said I'd do it, and I did it. I read every quest text that was in this new expansion. So all those 10 levels, I read every single one.
How much did you actually digest and remember now?
Well, that's an entirely different conversation, because I think I retained the core of it, right? But
you retain it while you're doing it, and you get the gist.
And most of the stuff I retained.
Did you enjoy the game more?
I did. I think I did. At the time I was playing
it, too, when I read it.
And I think it enhanced. Okay, so here's what it enhanced for me. When there was a big cutscene, something more visual and more movie-like or whatever, it was enhanced by what I had read up to that point. So I actually think it benefited my enjoyment of my time, and it was also a good exercise for me, because I am notoriously short attention span these days, and I didn't want to. I usually I'm like, no, just do it. I know I got to go get 10 things. Just I don't care about your flavor text. So it forced me to slow down, to not be Mr. Scatterbrain, and actually try to get my brain to be a little more like it was when I was 15 or something.
It could do full on SWOTOR.
Right. Oh my gosh, yeah.
You don't read anything, man. We just tell you. The guy comes out and starts talking.
I reinstalled that because I heard that if you
I did too, actually. I did last night.
Did you? I just did the other day.
I did last night, though, not because of anything I heard, but because I'm just excited for the new movie.
Yeah, me too.
I want to be in Star Wars.
There's a lot of Star Wars stuff, and so there's ways to feel that in there for sure. But I got in thinking, oh yeah, someone said you can power through all of the single-player story missions and get like 75% more XP and never have to do a side mission. And I thought, well, I could actually get into that. Like, it'd be fun to go do a character I never did. And then I got in and found out that you can only do that if you're a month-to-month subscriber. And I said, oh, well.
Oh, so they upped the XP for
so you'd only have to do story missions.
Pay to win. Forget that.
And never and never touch a side quest without a cutscene, basically. It's what it came down to. So
I'm going to go in there and I'm going to free to play that thing up. And
I want to see what's up in there a little bit.
I'm not in there to do anything. I'm not in there to like level. I just want to go in and just be. I want to be a Jedi for a little while.
Yeah,
yeah. And then I'll get bored again. I'll leave.
Sure, that's probably what I'll end up doing. I did a Jedi as well. That's funny. I'm feeling. Yeah, anything with Star Wars right now, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'll do that. It doesn't matter what it is.
When you get excited about some specific IP, it's
the way it is. All right, what else we got here? Oh, Patrick, you're back into Diablo. What?
I am. Woo-hoo! That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's for some reason I don't even remember why, but a couple of weeks ago I launched Diablo again, and I think something clicked when I understood that the set pieces that you get are actually better than your equipment, not because of the stats, but because of the set bonuses. And yes, you can try and get the perfect roll on your set piece, but I ended up getting hunting for the Tel Rasha set piece. I play a wizard, and I finally got it after a few days of grinding, and it's amazing. It feels really fun. I mean, the game is as good as it's ever been, since Reaper of Soul came out, and I've always loved D3, but even when it first came out, I never played Diablo 1 and 2, and I was sure I was going to hate Diablo 3 or, dislike Diablo 3, but I really got into it and I played, 100 or 150 hours of the game. And now it's just, it's that rhythm, that thing that you get into. And Scott, you know that very well.
I love it. Yep.
But I I got all of those items, and I can do Torment 6 like it's nothing. And I'm getting into, Greater Rifts. And yeah, it's one of those games. And it's like Blizzard does this better than anyone. It's games that you can enjoy for a really long time. And I understand that at some point, every single game is going to become, it's going to be the same over and over again. But it's still that amount of time before which you're going to get to that point is so long with Blizzard games, and usually you can get back to it a little bit later, and it's got to be fun again. And yeah, I'm just I was in that place with Hearthstone a while ago, and I'm in that place with Diablo now, and it's just this weird thing with Blizzard game. I don't know what sauce they put in the games, but it's always you can always go back to them and have fun.
Yeah.
So
WoW's like that. Yeah. This is like that. Like if all these games are subscription games,
that's why I'm not worried for WoW. One bit. Worst case scenario, you stop playing for a few months. Next expansion comes out, you play again. Maybe you get back into it for the full expansion. Maybe you don't, but it's always going to be there. So.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I was going to say, if all their games are subscription-based games, you'd have this same pattern with all of them to whatever degree. There'd be coming and returning. It's just nice to know it's always going to be there for you. You go off and try a little Star Wars game for a while, decide it's not for you. Ooh, I'm itching for WoW because I missed the things it did right, so I'm going to come back. It's just the way this goes. Accept it, embrace it, love it. Also, they're doing a cow level thing. Yeah, that's happening today or this week or something, isn't it? What's happening? I don't even know what's happening.
It's the third anniversary of Diablo. Can you imagine 3 years of Diablo?
Wow.
And of Diablo 3, of course.
Yeah.
And so they added a cow level. I haven't been blessed enough to visit it yet, but I'm hoping I will.
For D2,
it's kind of silly, If anyone who knows the Diablo lore knows that there's a lot of there's importance in the Cow King and his cow hordes, and there has not been a cow level in Diablo 3 for 3 years, and they were playing with this, saying, one of the tips was there is no cow level, and it's become almost a meme level thing in Diablo. And of course, they had the Whimsy Shire, which was the unicorn and teddy bears level, which was really fun.
Basically, this generation's cow level is what that is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now for the anniversary, they're putting in apparently a limited time cow level for a week. So if you want to experience that, you should play now. But it's minor.
It won't listen. It won't be like Molten Core where you regret going back and reliving some of your glory D2 days. It'll be fine. It'll be a good time. So go check it out. Yeah. Finally, this is just a small hint moving forward, but I am going to organize a Frog Pants tournament in Heroes of the Storm. And it will involve a lot of personalities from shows you know and like, a lot of fans, a lot of people who just play with us. I think I've got my dream team all picked. The only person I haven't asked formally yet is Blizzard, or is Dills over here, because I'd really like him on my team because he tends to dominate in that game.
Yeah, I'm down.
So I'm doing it all in public like this so other people can't try to poach you.
Ah, I see.
There's been some poaching, some efforts in a couple other teams. It's all we're basically being like pro wrestlers. We're all doing this for good fun, but there's a lot of smack talk going on right now between myself and.
I'll tell you one thing, Mean Gene. I'll be on your team, Scott.
Listen to this, brother. So we're very excited about it. Details soon. There'll be a way for you to sign up your own teams and be involved in this. I'm not sure how many we'll start out with, but we're going to have a load of fun with it. More details to come. So. Pay attention, stay tuned. All right.
By the way, the actual BlizzCon Heroes tournament, anybody can sign up.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to, like in the Hearthstone one, you have to win these points and stuff. Mm-hmm. You just sign up for this tournament. You'll probably get eliminated if you suck, but that's fine.
Yeah.
At least you can try.
Yeah. I was thinking
to earn a bunch of points and be like #1 ranked in Hero League or something like that. You can try.
There were 3 games last night with some of the core people I play with all the time, and we decimated the first 2 organized teams, and the third team came on and worked us. But between the second and third game, I actually had these thoughts in my head of, you guys, we could totally sign up for that.
Let's do BlizzCon. Yeah, no, I was playing with Karma, who's a Hearthstone player. She's a really good Hearthstone player. So her friends, and we won, I think, like 8 or 9 games in a row, and none of them were even close.
Right.
Like, it was just pure. Like, by the end, we were just messing around. We were just like, hey, why don't I just run off and go by myself and kill this guy? Oh, I killed him. Look at that.
It's like, just leave the tribute. Nobody needs the tribute.
Yeah, it got ridiculous. Yeah. And we were like, all right, guys, road to BlizzCon. Are we all ready? You get those thoughts in your head. But then you see Heroes of the Dorm.
Yeah.
And you see how good those guys actually are. And you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. It might be fun to be eliminated and at least say you tried.
So just be in the tournament.
Yeah, why not?
I'd be in.
Game's so great. Anyway. That's going to do it for that. Let's do a couple of quick town criers.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Why, it's the town crier.
As always, Town Crier comes to us via email and phone calls. We're doing just phone calls today. Those come to us at 801-471-0462. That's 801-471-0462. Or you can email us attachments and or comments to theinstance@gmail.com. We haven't had a question about the movie for a while, so here's one now.
Hey, this is Robin calling from up in Alberta, Canada. Hey, guys, love the shows. Do you guys think the Warcraft movie will have any kind of tie-ins to the game at the time of its release? Have a great day.
All right, you guys, what do you think? There going to be any big crossover between the game?
They're going to sell Blizzmeebos at every single theater. That I don't know if that's. I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't think so? Like, not even kind of an. I mean, there'll be some kind of nod to it.
Well, there'll be a nod in the game to the movie, yeah. But I don't think there's going to be like a big.
What do you think, Patrick? They're going to make a big shmoo about having the movie in the game?
I don't know. Well, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a nod. Although, the timeline is interesting because they're doing basically the first orc invasion, right? Yeah. And is the Iron Horde kind of going to, once they reclaim their power, are they going to invade? Or I don't know.
You think they're trying to time something in the game? That would be weird.
I don't know.
Maybe
cool. It's gonna be. Maybe we're gonna see. The in that new WoW universe, we're gonna see the characters from the movie in the next expansion. I don't know, but it could happen.
How about if you go see the movie, you get a code on your ticket, and then you come back to WoW and you type in your code and you get like a mount or something.
It'd be all right?
I think we'd all go see the movie anyway.
Well, yeah.
But Blizzard seems to be doing these things where they're just like, we're just rewarding you for doing all the Blizzard things.
Yeah.
Like with the hero stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe there's going to be. Well, I don't know. I don't know how closely the movie team and the game team, like the actual developers, are working. Maybe there could be, some of the designs from the movie that get integrated into the game for, some incredible mounts or, something.
Well, we know Chris and the creatives are working very closely with them, but that's not the same, I guess.
Of course,
as the
of course,
devs and the designers.
But on the other hand, I don't know if you saw it, Scott, but there was a tweet a couple of days ago, which I retweeted to you from Gary Whitta, who was working on the script back when Sam Raimi was in the running. Well, he was directing it, and there was a really silly moment where Leroy was appearing in the movie, and he would actually rush headfirst into battle against orcs and breaking ranks. Basically, it was Private Leroy, and Private Leroy would run into the orcs yelling Leroy, of course. And that felt very weird and, kind of silly. And I was sort of happy that this is probably not going to be into the actual movie. It feels like both products should be completely independent, thought of as their own thing. And yes, you can have a nod here and there, but that Leroy thing was way too much.
If it's being shoehorned in, then yeah. But let's say there was a scene where they were just gathering troops together and they're like, all right, we got everybody, and then thanks for that message, Private Jenkins, and then he leaves. Like, what if it was that? That'd be okay, right?
Maybe. I mean, we'd all get it and stuff. I think
like, yeah, if we just get it and it's okay, that's fine. But I don't want it to be like, I definitely, like, if he runs into battle yelling Leroy, then that's dumb.
Here's my guess. There is a reason why Sam Raimi and Gary Whitta are no longer on the project. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying they got fired. I'm saying that sensibilities were just probably not right. I think Blizzard wanted to take this seriously, and they don't want to be too self-referential.
Like,
make
suddenly
it
he cuts off his own hand and it starts attacking him, and Thrall's hand is attacking his face, and you're like, come on, dude, really?
Right.
And so this is why it's, I'm not sure about the tie-ins, maybe subtle ones, but usually if you do the two things together, it might you have to compromise in order for some things to work. And thematically it could have similarities, but I still want the priority should be on making each product its own thing and making sure you do what's best for that product.
I agree. However, here's your scene.
To be subtle.
Here's your scene. You need to have a hunting party. It's all humans, right? And they're out shooting, I don't know, baby whelps or something. And you don't say anyone's Leroy Jenkins or Sergeant Jenkins or any of him yelling and running into the fray. Forget about all that. It's just they're all shooting. And everybody's hitting whelps except this one guy who shoots a chicken and then says, well, at least I got chicken.
At least I got chicken,
yeah. Like, we were trying to get whelps. Well, at least I got chicken.
That's it. More dots. All right.
There you go.
Get the more dots
I'm okay
guy.
with that. Yeah, we could do some more dot stuff.
That could work.
You can do all that stuff. It just has to be subtle. It can't be be on the nose. It's got to be,
What the F you gonna do? A guy will yell and start screaming dots. That'll be good. All right, we got one more call, and
just a guy with that accent. That's all you need.
Oh, I completely agree. Do we even know the origin of that guy's accent? I freaking loved it.
Oh yeah.
What was it?
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't remember, but yeah, he gave interviews. He was well known for a while.
Yeah. Wonder what he's up to now. Oh. Maybe he's in old folks' home painting things and yelling more dots.
He's the hardcorest of hardcore, so he's playing like Eve.
Yeah, probably. Those guys. All right, here's one last question. It's a nice light one. Here you go.
Hey, Scott, Dills, Terpster, and Patrick. Annex the Hunter of Ticondra's US here. With the game approaching its 11th year, what has been your favorite instance of all time? It can be a 5-man, a raid when it was current, something that was changed drastically with the Cataclysm, anything at all. If it holds a special place in your heart, I want to hear about it. Thanks.
It's all Old War all the time for me.
That really was my favorite. It's just hard to ever have a new one.
It was so varied, so unique, so different, so much fun the way you would turn on hard modes and not.
I think that's to me what it was. It was you kill something faster than you're supposed to, and suddenly it activated some harder version of it. Like, I just loved all that kind of stuff. Or not killing this or not killing that. Mm-hmm. The whole thing was just really well designed. I'm sad that they've never really gone back to that method of doing it. Mm-hmm. I think, though, the one that I actually did more than any other is TOC.
Oh yeah, we did that. That was a lot.
I did that. Yeah, I was doing it 4 times a week.
Yeah,
I was doing it 10-man regular, 10-man heroic, 25-man regular, and 25-man heroic every single week for a while.
Wow.
And I actually really enjoyed, like, for a thing that happened all in one room. I actually had a good time. The whole time.
Were you doing all those the dailies that involved you going down to the forest and getting the trees and taking?
I wasn't doing any of the actual tournament stuff. I was just doing the raid. But I did the raid with 2 different teams, and I remember the first time we did. What was that, Nubarak? Was that the last guy? We had heroic Nubarak. Was so tough at the time, and shooting the balls of ice down from the ceiling and everything. That was my job as the hunter. You had to do that a few times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was a tough fight. It was fun, and we did it at like level when it was still we were like one of the first few, not at all close to the top, but in our server we were one of the first. Like,
we were doing all right. Yeah, we did pretty good, and I remember hating the PvP like fight. And then loving it later because we mastered it so hard.
Yeah, it sucked for a long time, but then because it was so chaotic.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But the chaos was actually kind of cool because the fight always felt a little different. But
no, everything about Northrend and its expansion out there and the way they handled all that TLC, I thought that was. I didn't even like the jousting stuff. That all got real boring for me. But the feel of that, the feel of everything in that expansion nailed tone. Like the tone of Wrath of the Lich King still sticks with me all the time.
Yeah.
I don't go to Northrend enough just to hang out.
It's hard to say that like just one of them was my favorite. They're favorites for different reasons, right?
Yeah. What do you think, Patrick? What's your favorite?
I have. Sorry.
So I was going to say, I was asking you, what's your favorite?
Oh, I think it's really difficult to choose one instance, like game mechanics wise, but I think the thing that stays with me is the firsts, and Karazhan was the first time I actually did what was considered a raid, even though you had 10 possible 10 mans in vanillas that were regular dungeons, but they were so difficult you would go and do them with actually 8 people, not 10, because you wanted to have one of each class for loot. There was Magtheridon, which was the first time I did a 25, and that entire quest that allows me to this day to have the Hand of Adal title. And then I guess the ICC, because we almost had Arthas. We brought him down to like, I don't know, 50. When did he start his phase 3?
It was at 10% is when he's
10%,
actually
right.
dead at 10%, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we brought him to phase 3, and we thought we could do it, and it was one of those 5, 6, 7, 10 attempts, and we were all tired, and it was like a week before the release of Cataclysm. And or before the patch that would make it so you wouldn't get the title anymore, no, it was the release of Cataclysm. And I was telling the people on Vent, I was like, guys, we need to do it, because if we don't do it now, we won't get back to it. We had like 3 days left. And they were like, no, let's just stop now and come back fresh on in 2 days, and we'll do it, and we'll get it. I was like, I knew that we were never going to do it. I knew that, the guild was very casual. I knew we wouldn't get back together to do it. And it broke my heart that we had to walk away from this, I had to walk away from it knowing that I would never kill Arthas in the raid. So that's a sort of a bittersweet memory from ICC, but I'm still very happy I went all the way to him.
For the life of me, I cannot figure out why his hero in Heroes of the Storm doesn't include Defile. Like, why is that not an AoE, like, something?
Hey, I just poured my heart out. I was making everyone cry in the audience, and people were like, oh, that's heartbreaking, Patrick. I feel for you. And you're like, heroes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I kind of just...
Well,
it's
very heartbreaking is no Defile in Heroes,
right. No, you make a good point. Oh, Patrick, I'm so sorry. Anyway, Heroes, yeah, I understand. I think a lot of people center on that encounter as a big deal. There's many of them. We always love hearing yours, so if you guys want to send more in, you can email us and let us know your favorite moments in WoW at the instant show at gmail.com. That's it. That's everything. That's the show. Oh, and those phone calls came to us, 801-471-0462. Leave a message. We'll play it on the show. Let's get the hell out of here. Who's got something to tell us? Let's see. Dills, you have anything cool planned this week? What's going on?
Actually, this weekend I'm going to be playing golf literally the entire weekend. So no stream. I'm sorry. Yeah. No stream at all.
You gonna have some zinc on your nose or anything to keep the sun away from?
Probably no. Probably just burn.
You're a white man. You're a white man like me. So
got to remember to reapply at the ninth hole. That's what I got to do. But yeah, there's actually going to be a guy from a golf related magazine going to be out at our tournament for the MGA, so there might be a spread at some point in a golf magazine, which would be cool.
That's really cool.
So I'll let everybody know when that happens.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But other than that, not a lot of video game stuff. If anybody is in the San Francisco Bay Area, I should put this out there. If anybody's in the San Francisco Bay Area and you want to do a Magic draft with me, we're doing a special Magic draft on Tuesday night at game night. There's, I think, only like 4 slots available. So tweet at me if you want to come, so I know, and I can maybe reserve you a spot. That's a standard Magic draft. I think we're gonna be doing like 2 packs of Fates, 1 pack of Dragons or something, and it'll be $15. And we're doing it at game night on Tuesday night, and we're just gonna do a nice little short one. Keep the cards. There's gonna be prizes for the winners, all that kind of stuff. So
very nice.
Come on out.
All right, check it out. Dills, or I just said Dills. Hey,
no, I'll tell you some more. Let's see. So I'll also be.
Patrick, how about you? How much Heroes of the Storm are you going to play this weekend?
I might have to play in the end a little bit more than I thought because I want that those mounts. No, not the mounts, but the card back in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So
you gotta get to level 12 only. It's
that's how they get you.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
That's how they get you. Plus, it'd be fun. Is that game region locked? I don't know if we can play.
Yeah, it is. All of them are. It's terrible.
Damn it. All right, fine.
But once the game is out, you can have an EU and NA account.
Yeah, but then you have to level both, and it's
true.
True. No,
I have an NA. I have an EU Hearthstone account that I actually play.
Oh yeah. Well,
you actually play it?
That's because you're a freak.
But
Why aren't we friends?
I don't know. But I play Arena essentially every now and then just to like gain cards. That's all I really do on it. And I get to rank 20 just to get the card back, and then I log out.
What he's saying is he's just sniping these loser, horrible UK players, EU players that suck.
With my free-to-play account, though, I don't have any cards.
That's true. Hey, you're playing it the way the game was made, so you're all right.
Play that Face Hunter deck, Scott. It works like a charm.
Anyway, sorry, Patrick. So what are you doing? What's going on?
Right. Plugging stuff. So Pixels, go listen to Pixels. If you don't, then I will be very sad. And you remember how you felt when you were listening to my horrible tale of me missing the Arthas kill in ICC? Well, that's how sad I will be if you don't go listen to Pixels. It's on FrenchSpin.com. It's a show about video games, and it's super fun. It's really good, and it's a summary of everything you need to know from the past 2 weeks from the gaming industry with a little bit of analysis sparkled in. Did I say whiz a little bit?
A little bit of whiz, yeah, a little whiz, sure.
Whiz a little bit. And go listen to that, or not you, but I will be sorry. And you don't want to make me sorry.
No, don't make Patrick sorry. Yeah, he'll turn green and get big.
It's all sad stories without Scott interjecting and just crapping all over it.
Although, speaking of that, we thinking on E3 week, Patrick and I should do a little Boop Pixels crossover fun. And
I might be game.
I think we should do that. Maybe even.
I think you got to call it Boop, though, right? I mean,
we might do maybe a live commentary track of us watching some of the pressers and all that. So we'll talk about it.
Well, I'm definitely I'll be in Finland, but I'm definitely going to be watching them and trying to do something about commenting at least some of them. So
you know what's great about Finland? You can. So if it's on TV or screens or whatever, the best part is you can see through all the people in front of you because they're all translucent like baby fish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can do a presentation with everyone, and you don't need to elevate the back of the room because, that's perfect.
You can see their little hearts beat. They're like those weird planet Earth creatures they find in caves with no eyeballs. It's really weird. Anyway, but your wife's awesome. She's not the same as the rest of them. Anyway, what was my point? Oh, that's it. Yeah, so we'll do that. Watch for that. I'm very excited. E3 week's always fun. That's in June, and we're looking forward to it. Finally, thanks for all your comments about our little Avengers spinoff review last week. People really enjoyed it. Some people were terrified that we did it the whole show. I'm like, no. We segmented it out. It's fine. It's all good. That turned out pretty good. What else is going on? Find all the goings on over at frogpants.com. If you want to catch Terpster more frequently than you do on here, you might check out hypotheticalhelp.com. We are 2 episodes into the brand new launched show. You can catch that at hypotheticalhelp.com. Links to iTunes and wherever your podcasts are found. That stuff is all there. I think that's everything else. Something else is going to bring up. Well, if anyone at Blizzard listens who's on the Heroes team, if you want to pitch in any prizes for our tournament, I'm all ears. I think that's going to do it for us. For me, for Patrick. Oh, wait. You also go to theinstance.net. That's our website. Instant Show on Twitter. Scott Johnson, Willie Dills, _T, not Patrick. Those are all Twitter names. Big thanks to Matthew Oxley for our amazing theme and for our intern, Paul Swickard, who keeps the website running. And more shows like this at frogpants.com. That'll do it for us. For me, for Patrick, and for Dills. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.
Bye.
Let dick.
Whoa.
That was like DJ Scott.
Yeah. We didn't mean that.
Been in that T.
The dick. Wiki.
Let dick.
Good episode today, man. Have fun, everybody. Sorry it went a little long, but have a fantastic day.
You too.
Let's hook up later. Bye now.
says.
Everything's recording, everyone. Here we go. Chat room, hello and welcome. Show begins in 3, 2, 1.
I was sent back to the future to bring you great laws.
You're listening to The Instance.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Instance. This is The Instance, the World of Warcraft podcast and all things Blizzard show. Been here for a long time. It's almost 10 years. What are we going to do to celebrate? I don't even know. My name is Scott Johnson. It is episode 410. It's Friday, May 8th, 2015. I'm joined by Patrick from France.
Hey, Scott.
Patrick from
I'll
France.
I'll have my proposals for 10-year instant celebration on your desk by the end of the month.
Thank you so much. Linda in accounting can help you with that if you need any help. It's fine.
Excellent.
All right.
It might involve running around pentless for a certain amount of time. But,
well, then you're already ready. Also with us, of course, Willie Dills Gregory. Hello, man.
Hello. I think you should send anybody who's been subscribed to the podcast for the entire time a free Henry little figurine.
Oh, that'd be a cool idea, actually.
How would you ever know?
I won't be able to tell. They'd have to be honest with me.
There's no possible. Yeah, I'm sure that will work very well.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, just on the honor system, guys. Who's been subscribed for the entire time?
Yeah, and you can't say, "Well, for 2 months I didn't have a phone. Sorry, you don't qualify."
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. It's a big landmark, and after about 200, you stop sort of celebrating the big numbers. Although I guess 500 is a pretty big number too. But to me, then it starts to get down to the years, and a decade of a show feels like you ought to do something for that. But
probably,
I have no idea what we're gonna do.
I'm pretty close, actually. Though I think I came in episode maybe 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should get a statue, a little Bobby Henry statue. That? Or maybe I'll just do a print and get real cheap. I'll do like a little...
I remember you giving people birthday shout-outs. I'll just put that out there.
Holy shit.
That was like a big part of the show.
Language.
Captain France does not approve.
No,
when you guys would actually go through and give every single birthday shout-out that people sent in.
Yeah,
that was
terrible. I
Pimp
can't believe we
guild,
did that.
That was a thing.
Why did we do that, though? That was
because there wasn't as much to talk about.
I guess so. I don't know. People
there weren't as many people listening. There was, you could do things like that.
I guess
I
so.
remember which one's the first I ever listened to. I remember that it was 2006 when in the summer that I started sending a million different submissions for stuff. I remember the first one I sent was basically 15 pages of text.
Yeah.
And Andrew was reading them, and he sent, then I sent recorded pieces, and he sent me a message saying, "Thank you for not sending text again. I can't read all this."
Yeah, he was in charge of going through all that crap, and he was very happy when Patrick from France became an audio submission and not a book submission each week. Yeah, those were the days. We'll reminisce on all of that and do something fun for a year. It's not till January, or a 10-year anniversary. So everyone just chill. It'll be fine. We'll come up with something before then. I rated the other night. I gotta say something about rating right now. This content.
Are you gonna say you didn't drop anything again?
Well, I'm not gonna complain about that because that's a symptom of a larger disease, I think. So here's what I'm gonna say. I know that there's probably some people who absolutely are loving this particular raid content, that being Foundry. It's fine, right? I love it. I love that they love it. Great. I think that it is very, very difficult. Now, I know I'm saying this in the light of, in the last couple of years, people are like, "Yeah, stuff's too easy. Make it harder." All right? So I get it. But even on normal, that content, kind of rough. Rough to the point that I feel like raid nights are spent more banging your head against the wall and way less making tangible progression. And sometimes that can be a small bit of progression, but still, it just doesn't feel like it. Now, that being said, all my raid mates are going, "What are you talking about? You haven't even been in here in 3 weeks." They're right. I came in after about a 3-week break from raiding. I came in the other night, and perhaps this one, what's the roly-poly boss? What's his name? Jasper the Jackass, whatever he is.
The roly-poly boss.
Yeah, the one that rolls through the thing. You got to kill the boxes.
Yeah. The one that goes through the little tunnels or not the tunnels, but the little pathways.
It's almost like a random. But there's a little RNG there going on.
Yeah, I'll admit too that most of my rating has been LFR, where I don't even pay attention to the names of the bosses.
Yeah, you sort of.
I don't know. I beat Black Hand for the first time this week, and I thought the fight was super fun. And when spoiler, everything breaks up and he's like, everyone down. I thought that was super cool. I didn't expect everyone to fall down levels as you would in a weird fighting game.
But you're talking LFR though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that stuff, sure. Everyone can do LFR. LFR is not hard. I'm not having trouble there. I'm talking about like straight up normal heroic area rating. When I'm doing that stuff, I just feel like we are banging our heads against the wall so hard that it becomes not as fun. Like, I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I'm willing to admit, hey, maybe it's just Scott here. Maybe.
What do you think, Dills? Is the balance a little bit too? Should they tweak it or?
No, I think it's fine. What you're doing, and that makes it feel untuned.
Maybe.
You know? And like that's a combination of not rating that much, and also of not getting lucky on drops.
Yeah, it's also a little just maybe it's just fatigue over time, like.
Yeah, but or Gorgar or Gorgar. This is the worst name. Yeah. That's the guy that you're talking about, by the way.
In French, he has a name in France. It's called
Le Dick.
Le Dick. We don't like Le Dick.
But no, there's a lot of people complaining that this stuff is actually too easy, and that they've been able to actually get through it pretty quick. So if you're constantly out there and you're constantly in these raids, these aren't more difficult than the other stuff.
See, that's interesting to me because everything I've been hearing, and maybe again, it's like you buy a car and then suddenly you see your car everywhere on the road you go because you see everyone else who has the same car you do. So maybe that's what's happening to me. But I'm seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook, Twitter, emails, people saying that it's breaking their long running rating groups up for they've been together for like 6 years. They're falling apart because they're getting so angry. The content is not fun for them because they're not progressing the way they want to. But
are they talking about normal, or are they talking about like
they're talking normal and heroic? I don't know about mythic. I mean, we're not hearing from a lot of mythic folks.
Because the way I feel, I think that there might be some people who, heroic was kind of the top. That was the hardest level, and essentially what's happened now is there's this third level, which is supposed to be kind of equal to heroic before, right? Like mythic has kind of replaced heroic, and they supposedly have dropped these things down. But it seems to me more like what's happening is people are wanting to, like they say, well, we're the kind of guild that's supposed to be beating the top stuff at the time that it's out.
Yeah.
And they're having trouble with mythic, and that's what the problem is. Not like I don't think like people who are doing what we're doing, which is just raiding for fun because we enjoy hanging out with each other. We're just doing normal, which is not even normal, right? It's just flex, right?
Sure.
Like there's people like us who it's like if that guild is breaking up, that's not a problem with the content really, because I don't think that content is too hard. I think it's just the way that it's all set up now. People are expecting to still be at the top end, and maybe they're not because mythic is a little bit tougher than.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. I guess my overall point is even if some of that's just pure perception, I don't know how it's serving the game. I mean, if people are having fun, this stuff seems like you can get over it, even if things are hard or difficult, or you bang your head against it or whatever. Like, I don't know how many times you and I sat through a complete, cluster F of the Lich King dropping, what the hell that was that called? What was that goo he put on the ground in the final little bit of the fight? Defile, whatever it was.
Defile, yes.
Over and over and over. How many times we wiped on that thing? But I never wasn't having fun. Like it was always exciting, always bare knuckle, white knuckle. Like let's get this, let's do this, and I don't know. It's just different now, and I'm willing to admit I'm not so close-minded not to think that this could just be, hey Scott, that was 6 years ago. We're kind of doing a lot of the same stuff now. Maybe you're just a little tired of it, or maybe even spoiled by the churn that is, say, Heroes of the Storm, which has got this different cycle of what you're doing, how you're winning it. And if you're just, sometimes if your brain is all like wrapped up in a certain thing you're playing, sometimes other experiences feel weird. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I agree. I definitely think that there's something to that. I also think that the way rating is now is completely different than what we were doing with a really kind of lean and mean 10-man doing ICC, where everyone had defined roles and those roles did not change. We always had 3 healers, 2 tanks, 5 DPS, right?
Yeah, always.
That was just how we rolled, right? That was what it was. It was 10-man. Now with Flex, I think some of the nights that I've come in and we've struggled is because we have 3 healers and we're a team of 22, right? And that's just
3 healers, 19 hunters, and
19 hunters, and and a couple tanks. Yeah. But no, it's I think with the way Flex is now, the teams are not as like set in you need this amount of this and this amount of that. It's just kind of we roll in with whatever we got, and then if the fight feels if the fight feels like we need more healing, people are dying, we ask somebody to switch to their second spec, and that might not be their area of expertise, and it doesn't necessarily mean suddenly like the fight's going really smoothly. It's just it's a little more chaotic now and a little more all over the place.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like, I tank, Manny tanks, you guys DPS, these 3 people heal. You guys all have like these little teams that are very coordinated and know what they're doing, and you feel like you know what you're doing. And now you might just feel like it's just, where am I supposed to stand right now? What am I supposed to do? am I supposed to shoot? And it's just a little more chaotic.
It's a little more. It's a more complex dance every time now too. So that's basically what you're saying. This chaos comes from mechanics that require a lot more sort of skill moves and movement timing and things that you didn't. It's not as simple as stay out of the poop and keep your DPS up. It's stay on this wall and then move to this wall, and then you cannot miss this box before you hit that box. Speaking of roly-poly dickhead man, it's just a different place. And I could be listening to all the wrong voices, and everyone's thinking this is the greatest raid content in the history of the world. I don't know.
I don't think everyone's thinking that. I think if anything, this particular raid, Blackrock Foundry, feels to me like the middle raid.
Yeah.
The middle raid tends to not be the memorable one when all is said and done, right?
Yeah. Well, what was Ulduar, first or middle?
Middle.
Was it middle?
Well, Ulduar was fantastic, but Ulduar was also a special case.
It was the first part of the middle, because then you had the what's the name of the thing? Trial of the
trial. Yeah, it was TOC was also the middle, I guess you could say, because it went next. But you can't look at ICC, you can't look at Wrath and say, like, because that was the best that WoW has ever been, right? Like, that was the most popular it had ever been. It was that was the hype, right?
Technically, Cataclysm, the launch, brought it to 12 million. And that's the most popular it's ever been. But I guess you could say...
if you want to talk about one point in time, sure. But over an expansion, that went up in numbers, not down.
True. It was also...
I get what you mean.
It was still on its initial swing up, though. I mean, that was still on a path of, we're getting new players all the time because they're learning about this game 3 years into it.
Sure.
So it had that advantage.
It's funny. But, the chat room is saying Karazhan and Black Temple, and, people are talking about the one that was that they liked the most. I'm suspecting, tell me if I'm wrong, Scott, but I'm suspecting that ICC is the time that most people experienced their first real raiding experience. Karazhan was sort of a different beast, but that's when a lot of people really got into raiding.
Oh yeah. For whatever reason, more people
serious raiding.
Yeah,
right?
more.
So I think that it would make sense that would be at least part of the reason why everyone remembers it so fondly.
Sure, I think more people got an opportunity to somehow. I don't know what things came together to make that happen, but it was the first time I really took it seriously. I mean, we did a lot of Magtheridon or freaking. Whatever early heroics.
It felt a little more spaced out to me, though. It didn't it seems like we've now gotten into this. There's one raid, then there's another raid, then there's the last raid.
Yeah.
It felt to me then like it was a little more spread out. You just had Mag just like on his own, right?
Yeah.
You just went off and did that.
Sure. And it was a short little chunk. So was Gruul at the time. So were other
Gruul
fights
was the same way.
Yeah. A lot of standalone big 25
man. Yeah, but then there was Hyjal and Black Temple. There was a bunch of stuff in TBC.
Well, yeah, there wasn't some particular middle raid. There was just a lot of different raids over a period of time, right?
Yeah. They were still getting their head around that stuff, I think.
Now I feel like we've gotten to this thing where there's like, okay, here's the raid content that we have at the beginning. Then we got this one to bridge the gap, and then here comes the final boss of the expansion.
Yeah.
We've kind of gotten into that rut a little bit or something. I don't know if it's a rut necessarily, but like, what was the middle raid of Pandaria that nobody remembers? Thunder King? Isle of the Thunder.
Yeah. Isle of the Thunder King.
Did anybody like that?
No.
Was anybody excited about that?
Not really. I mean, it was progression, but I remember not liking any of it.
I barely did it. I remember I went there and I beat it on LFR because I just couldn't take it. I couldn't take it in regular, and I stopped raiding almost completely because I just was like, nope.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And then you came back for the Siege of Orgrimmar. Seriously?
I didn't love Siege either, though.
I mean, I came back for it, but I didn't come back and then go like, oh my God, I'm blown away. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't. It got me to like have fun again, though.
Yeah,
I was having fun.
So I guess this is a reflection of the big news of the week.
Well, let's find out if it is or not. All right, we may as well just get the big dirty thing out of the way. And I do want to talk to it as three mature adults who will actually look this from different angles other than the way the internet tends to froth at the mouth when they hear news like this. But Activision Blizzard, I guess, had their earnings call for the previous quarter. And World of Warcraft has lost 3 million subs in about 3 months through the quarter. It is the worst drop in their history in terms of total people dropped within that period of time. It is not quite the lowest number we've ever been. They were at 6.8 million during the dip in Pandaria, and we're now at 7.3, so we're about a million up on that.
7.1.
7.1, is that what it is? Okay,
yeah,
so not much, but enough to, that's a lot of, that's almost an entire MMO's worth of user base for some other MMO. That is still the difference between their lowest and second lowest point. But it is their worst drop in their particular history. That's $45 million in lost revenue per month if you count it all as $15 subscriptions, which you can't
which
exactly
it is.
Do, but,
in Asia, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. So it's
something
not,
like 12 or something like that if you average it all out.
Yeah, it's much less. But still, chunk of change, not something shareholders necessarily want to hear. It would be the kind of number drop that would kill a lesser MMO or an MMO with a smaller base. I want to just cut through the hyperbole which exists in droves out there. I had people on Twitter just ripping me to shreds for suggesting that this is a dip that is a challenge and Blizzard's going to have to figure out ways to deal with it because clearly the game is at an age where it's more and more difficult to retain that number of people longer, and it's just such a weird time, and what a challenge it must be. And I got torn to pieces for what they considered all that to be big time apologies for Blizzard. I wouldn't say that at all. I think it's a pretty big challenge.
For what?
Well, they're like, basically they took what I just said, that I'm being an apologist for Blizzard, saying we should be harder on them for this loss. First of all, I don't know why it's up to anyone to be hard on anything. If 3 million people lost, if you're a player who enjoys Warcraft or even hates Warcraft, why do you care?
That's already hard on them.
Yeah.
Why? I don't understand why. What's the need? Why do people feel like when somebody's going through a rough time, we should then crap on them more?
Yeah,
and
it's
tell
weird.
them about how rough of the time.
It's a weird mentality, man.
Just be like, hey, man, this is what happened.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the fact that there's a lot of people that have there's always someone who says they dislike WoW right now,
Sure.
and they use this news as sort of a confirmation for themselves that they are correct in assuming that the game is not as good as it had been back when unicorns were exactly. And the truth is, obviously, there have always been people who thought that the game was not as good as the one before. It was the case for TBC, for Wrath of the Lich King, which we, spent 10 minutes reminiscing fondly on. At that point, there were people, saying that TBC was better, et cetera, et cetera. Now, obviously, the 3 million sub loss is not good news. I mean, it's not good news for anyone. And I'm sure Blizzard is not happy about it either. On one hand, I think you discussed it on the Boop Show, Scott. Yeah. They have been anticipating this for a while now, and titles like Hearthstone and Heroes and Overwatch, which is coming soon, hopefully, are the reflection of the fact that they know WoW is not going to last for 100 years, right? They know what they have to do, which is try to maintain WoW for as long as they can and do the best job they can there. And as we've seen with this expansion, I think they're doing an excellent job with the launch of the expansion, and then try to find other avenues to replace the business that they're going to inexorably be losing with WoW. But I think ultimately, I don't know about you guys, I didn't think it was going to go that far that quickly. That's the surprise. I would have been expecting them to lose 1, maybe 2 million. 3 is a lot, especially since it's to the end of March. So that's over a month away. A month away.
Right. And presumably there's been even more sense, and we don't know how many until their next earnings call. But I agree with you 100%. Like, it's a drastic drop. It's a huge drop all sort of at one time.
But it also follows. This is like a rubber band effect. Like, it also follows a 3 million, essentially 2.6 million increase, which was like the hugest increase that they ever had.
Sure.
So when you get a mass, like when you talk about increasing that amount, that's a lot of people coming back to just check it out.
Yeah,
I agree a lot of those people are probably not necessarily in for the long haul. Like a gradual increase over time that we saw through Vanilla, Burning Crusade into Wrath, it was never 3 million all at once.
No.
Like
that's very true. Yeah.
From September to December.
There's no question about it. I guess obviously they had hoped to not only they did an incredible marketing job. I also think being 10 years old helped. Like, there's a lot of things that went into why Warlords got such a quick return so quickly for a lot of people. But I think this is the game they face now. It's no longer going to be, oh, this expansion changed everything for everyone, and now we'll retain these people forever. I don't think they can do that anymore. I don't think there's
I don't think they expect to do that, though, either. Yeah. I think that they're very aware of their place now with what World of Warcraft is, which is still far and away the highest number of subscribers for any MMO out there. So, you're talking about how, like, some people are like, this is the death knell of World of Warcraft to be at 7 million people.
Yeah.
If you were Guild Wars, you would kill to be at 7 million people.
Right.
You know?
If I had a penny for every time I've heard this, I would have, a lot of pennies.
At least $1 by now or something.
The people just need to understand how ridiculous it is to suggest that 7 million people for an MMO is somehow the end of this MMO. Like,
right.
No, I think I don't think. I mean, I haven't heard this in this recent news. I think we've grown beyond that particular analysis of. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't really heard people still saying now. After having been wrong 100 times, now still saying, "Oh, this is the death of WoW." I just think.
I have. I definitely did yesterday. I got an earful yesterday from people who were like,
because these people want it to be. They want it to be, and they're going to keep. It's like the guy who at the baseball game sits next to you and keeps predicting a home run, and then the one time he's right, he's so excited about how he was right. People are going to continue to predict the end.
That's a great comparison. This guy yesterday said the only answer to this is to take all of the developers out and flog them and fire them all. And I said to him, do you really think that's the culture at Blizzard of all developers? The culture there is what? We dropped 3 million subs. Let's beat everyone with a stick and then fire them all and then start over because someone needs to account. What a simplified dingus way to look at it. And somebody shot back at me and said, "Well, I have a job, and if this is the kind of performance I put into my job, they'd fire me." This is the most lack of comparative data
performance.
Ever. Yeah,
I think if the kind of performance you put into your job is taken. Game that was supposed to make maybe 1 million subscribers and last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, and bring it to 12 million and make it last 10 or 15 or 20, I think you'd be commended, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd be flogged.
Fire those guys. Fire them. They're terrible. It's an awful thing.
But beyond this, it's interesting that when you look at the curve of the announced numbers that we have, if you take away that 10 million subscriber announcement from back in December and consider it an oddity or an outlier, the curve is very smooth. It's a bell curve that got its peak at end of Wrath, beginning of Cataclysm time frame. And it started going down, and there are some bumps when you have a new expansion or a new piece of content, a patch, but it's more or less a regular bell curve. So it's not that surprising. And honestly, we're at 7.1 now, and this is very it's almost as high as what it was back in September, which was 7.4. So and it's, as you're right, it's above what it was in June, which was 6.8. So it's still, I think now, unless we get some incredible surprise again for the next expansion and it goes back to 10 million, which I don't think they can pull that trick twice. But the game is to expand the life of the game as much as possible, and they're doing a really good job at this. So we're basically around 7, between 8 and 6. We've been there since 2013. So I don't think that's a bad job at all.
I just want to sit some of these guys down and say to them, though, it's okay. Look, if you are bored with a game you've played for 10 years and it's just not for you anymore, it's okay to be bored.
You're never gonna win that battle,
I guess not,
Scott.
but they act so weird about it. It's so like this weird entitlement, or 3 million. See, I told you so. Blizzard's the worst company ever. You guys are in their back pocket. Blah, blah, blah. Why do you care if you're not playing? What do you care? Why does it matter?
There's an element of frustration. Maybe those people, it's like love and hate are so close, right? It's people who maybe enjoyed WoW a lot a few years ago, and now they don't anymore. So they've decided everything has to burn because it doesn't provide them what it did for a few years. I mean, I remember for Diablo, I understand that Diablo Vanilla had issues, but you had people playing for 150 hours and then complaining that this game is boring. And like, you're not being rational. I understand the game has problems. Maybe you don't like the way this or that works, but you've played for 150 hours. Either the game is not as boring as you're saying it is, or you have mental health issues.
Yeah, the way I look at it too is what you said earlier is so true, and I just want to reinforce this a little bit. Blizzard has shown a strategy that I think is very forward thinking, and one that didn't exactly sneak up on us, but if you think about it, it kind of did. They talk a lot last BlizzCon about how excited they are about moving in new directions, new games. They're feeling freed up to do smaller experiences, Hearthstone being this great pillar of that and all that. And what they've done is not only done all that creatively, but they have also become the company that says, look, the MMO market is basically us in a very big numbers sort of way, and it's shrinking. And we know that, and we see that. We need other streams of revenue. We need other games to be popular. We need other strategies to work. And they've been doing that. They've been chipping away at that for years now. Not last minute, oh, no, crap, we better do something. Hurry up, make 3 more games. It's been this process over time. So well before any of these ups and downs, Blizzard knows what their forecast is. They're some of the smartest people out there. So, to me, it's very forward thinking. People should look at that and say, yeah, it's actually kind of exciting that Blizzard understands the future and kind of sees their place in it and knows they have to evolve and change. And if that means that they have to acknowledge that they have the biggest yet still shrinking MMO in the world, and they can't be the World of Warcraft company forever, I don't know how any of this is a bad thing.
Well,
but it's not. All right, they're not that company anymore, and they know it, and that's why they've got 5 games now that you can play, and soon to be 6, and 3 of them have a lot to do with the World of Warcraft universe, right? So they still are the company of Warcraft, right? And I think they knew a long time ago when they started really working on developing new titles that this was around the corner. This particular thing, this exact situation where they were going to start having a little bit of a hole that they needed to fill in revenue, and people got diverted, things got shifted around, and you're talking about 30 million people playing Hearthstone.
Yeah, that's insane.
Come on. Are they struggling as a company? I don't think so.
Yeah. Keep in mind that they combined the numbers of both Hearthstone and Destiny in this earnings call, and Destiny. So they're saying total they had, what was it, 50 million between the two games?
20 million for Destiny, 30 million for Hearthstone. But it's not really comparable because
it's not at all.
Destiny people pay to everyone pays to play the game.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is the performance of Hearthstone has to be off the freaking charts compared to what they expected.
Oh my God, it's
insane.
And it was. I mean, they've said that publicly. They did not expect Hearthstone to be the juggernaut that it has become, and that's just because the game is awesome. But
yeah, good point.
Just to finish up on the numbers. Yeah. Just to be the the contrarian for just a second, it's possible, in a universe of infinite possibilities, that there is a way to make WoW constantly better and keep it interesting for new people all the time and get the game to 15 and 20 and 30 million. Maybe, the devs are not doing what they should be doing. Maybe there is a way. But honestly, given everything we've seen and given the fact that we thought initially the entire market was 500,000 and that it kept growing. And every time it kept growing, we thought it can't grow any farther. It can't grow any more. I think really evidence and rationality suggests that they've done beyond the best that anyone could do with this game. So yeah, it's possible that there's something else they could be doing, but I really don't think it's likely.
Well, everybody wants to armchair quarterback this thing and tell them how they should be doing it, but I agree with you 100%. I don't know what else you can expect for a game that needs to toe the line to some degree. It needs to be the game that we all know it to be, or else players who play it aren't going to want to play it, and you can't let three people who say, it should be about hats, so let us make hats or something. It can't be, you can't listen to that and go, okay, well, we're going to uproot everything. It's like me saying, well, you know, we've had the instance for a long time, but starting next week, Patrick will be naked. Dills is going to talk about sports the entire time.
Hey there!
And I'm gonna review iOS gem matching games for the first half hour. You can't do it because, and one guy out there may love that idea. He may have been his idea, but you can't do it.
I'm not disliking it. I'm just saying.
And not only that, it will only run in certain apps now, and it's gonna, you know, you can't change fundamentally what it is so much. You know, people want WoW 2. Well, what do you want WoW 2 to be?
They tried. They tried. Overwatch is the result from, you know, at least partially. They had Project Titan, right? That they stopped, and they said, well, it doesn't really work, and we're going to take bits of it, and we're going to take new ideas, and we're going to make Overwatch. But Titan, from everything we've heard, was an MMO, like the next generation of MMO. And they realized it just, you know, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not fun enough to justify, because look, here's another trend everyone's ignoring. The thing isn't shrinking just because WoW's shrinking. The entire genre of MMO is shrinking. People aren't releasing or announcing big, new, crazy MMOs. ESO did not do that great out of the gate. They're on console now. We'll see how it goes there.
MMO did.
No MMO has, exactly. And they're kind of getting to that point, at least in Europe and in the Americas and in some degree Asia, where they're like, yeah, guys, we're not sure that this is like 06 anymore. This is a very different world. Do people care as much about this? Should they be smaller, more, you know, boutique experiences and less of these trying to be these juggernaut moneymakers? Like, it's just come to that place. And Blizzard's in the same place. They dominate the place. It is essentially their market in so many ways. Other MMOs just come out and look a lot like WoW and play a lot like them anyway. So what better way do you want your
so riled up about this?
Well, it's easy to get riled up
because
about
people get riled up at him. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
I guess
people get
it's
really
when the internet, you know, essentially what we've done is we've put ourselves in a position where, you know, people to a lot of people, we represent Blizzard. Like, we're a Blizzard that will actually respond to them, right?
In some ways,
even though we're not at all affiliated with Blizzard and have no ties to them,
right?
Actually, right?
Yeah.
But to a lot of people, we are the talking, walking representation of Blizzard to them. That when they tweeted us, we might actually respond.
Yeah.
So who are they going to pick to come after when like this happens? When they're like, "See, I knew it. I knew WoW sucked."
Yeah.
All right, at Scott Johnson, let's go.
I had a guy
start doing it.
I had a guy email me 2 weeks ago that said, "I heard Chris Metzen's coming to BlizzCon." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can you please?" I'm sorry. Yeah, he's obviously going to. Sorry, I meant Nerdtacular. I said, "Yes." He says, "Great. Maybe you can ask him why." And I can't remember what it was, but why blah 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 sucks. And I'm like, I tire of it. Listen, we love to be in the conversation. The conversation when it happens rationally is very interesting to me, and there are plenty of you with rational things to say. In fact, our listeners probably a cut above the average mob of angry gamers, I guess. But there is just a certain part of this business that is just so unsavory sometimes. It's just such a back alley with like chaos and ridiculousness that it gets me fired up.
You know, it's funny. I have a group of people who are Windows and Windows Phone apologists who apparently, I think they really hate me. And they've become like trolls, and anytime I talk about anything, they find a link to Windows and Windows Phone and come hassle me with it. And I've always thought that I could weather the kind of comments on the internet, because I've been public on the net for a long time, and I know that you shouldn't feed the trolls. But sometimes it's just so difficult to not respond and not get angry. So I completely understand. And there's so much bad faith in the way they communicate, and so much, pent up anger at their parents probably, or someone. Yeah. And you're like, and it's very difficult to just brush it off. And I understand what you mean. So I'm getting it now. I understand why you get riled up.
And I don't do it that often, right? Like, we try to keep it on a thing. And listen, before you all send me stuff, well, you weren't such a fanboy, Blizzard. No, I just want to make this clear. I'm a giant fanboy. I love everything they make. I do. I love them all. But even I'm kind of bored with WoW at the moment. I mean, I'm just at one of those places. It just happens. And it usually. I
want to point something out about the graph, though, real quick, because there's a little debate in the chat room right now where, so like, this is the biggest drop. Everyone's going, this is the biggest drop. That's clear. We're aware. But if you look from Wrath to Kata, right, there was actually like no movement at all from the end of Wrath to the beginning of Kata. And then it's just like a gradual decline. Then, because we've now reached the declining point where we're not at the highest point ever, because that was the highest point, there was nowhere to go. Like, there was no more people to join for Kata, right?
Right.
When we got down to 9 million, when Mist is about to come out, we jump up, right? But we jump up a certain amount of the people we'd lost, right?
Right.
We continue to go down. We get to the end. Now we're all the way down to 7.5. Draenor comes out. We jump up a huge amount because now we've lost so many people that there is that many people to gain back, right?
Right.
That big uptick is because there are 5 million people missing right now. So if we get half of those people back, that's a huge swing.
Yeah.
Now, those people now have all left, right? They all came and they said, oh, we're excited to try it again. It's not doing it for me, right? So we're out. So this looks like this is the hugest problem that Blizzard has ever had, biggest drop ever. You have to remember, like I said at the beginning, this is a rubber band effect. It followed the biggest uptick, and you cannot then go only look at half of this story. You can't say the downfall is the only part that matters here. The uptick also matters.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
Yeah. Well, it tells the story. Sorry, go ahead, Patrick. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Because you're right. There's such a huge pool of people. Although, they said there's at least 100 million people who have tried the game. Now, that might include the trials. But I'm sure there's a lot more than 12 million people who have actually owned the game at some point. So we might see this happen again for the next expansion, or maybe the one after that. The pool of people who might be interested in coming back is, you're right, a lot larger than when we were almost at the highest we had ever been. So it might happen again. You're right. Maybe it's going to become a seesaw, in which case the way you solve the problem, I suspect, is to release more expansions.
Mm-hmm. And hey,
absolutely. And you're making money off of each one of those.
So. And weird little ideas like tokens, for example, and having it be possible for you not to leave. Well, it didn't have any effect on these numbers because it wasn't out yet when these numbers were released. What they did
say, and it says it right here, is that because of the value-added services, they have actually had performance, like the revenue performance has actually been okay.
Yeah.
Like they're not like, we look at it and we go, oh my God, they lost whatever, 45 million or whatever you said it was, Scott.
Sure.
But according to this actual earnings call, they've actually made up for some of that with some of the services they've added on.
Sure.
It's not as dire as it looks. Just if you just look at this one thing, and that's all I'm saying to the people like who are having this debate in the chat, is that you can't look at one part of the story and think that you've nailed it, that you know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
You have to look at everything surrounding it. You have to look at the fact that, during Pandaria, they went from 10 million to the end, they went to 7.4, and there was a drop of 1.5 million at one point, like right after it hit.
It's basically,
obviously people weren't happy with what was going on.
It's basically an example of complex systems at work, and you have to.
And when you have a bigger variance, when the upticks are bigger, the downticks are bigger too, and that's just how it works. So
that is how it works. So that other stuff helped. That was nice. Again, tokens were not accounted for in this. We'll see what that impact had, if any, or in what direction or another in the next quarter's earnings call. So we'll have a ways to find out about that. But Heroes of the Storm has 11 million beta signups as of this date. With their launch in June, that's looking good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah.
I had no idea it was so popular. 11 million beta. So the Blizzard betas are usually very polished, and that's obviously no exception for Heroes. But 11 million. I'm sure some of those just checked it out and didn't play. But
there's always some.
For a beta, 11 million. I could have swore that it was, somewhere around maybe 2-3 million. I'm flabbergasted by that number.
Big numbers, I think, more so lately. Also, they flooded the market a bit with some keys. I ended up giving away about 60 keys at one point.
Yeah, I got so many, but I don't. Yeah, it's like I can't give them away. Everyone's already got them.
Either already got them, or they're running out of friends to give them to. So they're definitely making a push in that way. But also, that game is freaking great, and I've not had this much fun with a new game. And I can't tell you how long. It's been a very long time.
Let's just think real quick, though, because that 11 million is a big number. And that's also, that's not the total number of people that will play it. But if you talk about League of Legends, there's something like 70 million people who play it every month.
It's a dinky drop in the bucket so far. But but for a thing that's not even released yet, technically, and is still just in closed beta, and is now at 11 million beta signups.
It's a good number.
I mean, they are well on their way to be, at the very least, Blizzard has done the thing no one thought they could do. At the very least, they are a third MOBA to pay attention to. That is at the very low end. At the mid end, which is where I think they're going to end up, this will compete very well in that mix. And I think it's great. I mean, there's definitely room for more esports, definitely more room for MOBAs and this sort of exciting kind of gameplay. But I think people were going to write it off and say, no, it's the baby MOBA. Nobody cares. I think this proves they care. I think it puts it in a place where they'll do well.
I don't think there was a lot of people who said that. There were a few who were initially, fans of Dota 2 or League of Legends who thought it was a little bit too simple, but it was still fun.
I don't think
you run in different circles than me.
Yeah, you haven't talked to enough League players.
Jesus, I see so many people saying that this is the dumbest, most simplified MOBA they've ever seen. There's no chance. Like items, log it out.
Those league people want blood, and the Dota people not too far behind them.
They don't want this.
I don't know. Maybe I just hang around intelligent people. Apparently, sorry.
That won't stir anybody up. But no, part of it is, Patrick, not to because this isn't on you. It's on me for listening to a lot of this trollishness. But it's a very fierce market. Riot has a lot of money and a lot on the table, and
of course,
I just think it's impressive. And it takes a company like Blizzard, okay? Because there's plenty of pretenders to the mobile world that want to try to do something, and there's some that have come and gone and not done well or have done well or whatever. They're the only one that really could pull off a third MOBA that could compete, at the very least, compete enough to be a good third tier thing to keep your eye on. All I know is I am completely addicted to it. I freaking love it.
Yeah, it's great. And I've tried a few others and haven't had the same kind of. I've actually tried all of the ones, and I haven't had the same experience of just getting in and having a good time from the get-go.
Yeah.
And getting to that point where you feel like I just want to play this all the time. This is all.
I just want to master it. Ooh, I got a new character. I want to see why Tassadar was so popular in Heroes of the Dorm. Ooh, why he is rad. Okay, but I'm not good with the wall. Or there's 1,000 things that I'm always thinking about with that game and what I want to try to do and be. And I can compete. And I'm pretty good. I'm on teams that win. Like it's not a thing where, unlike Hearthstone for me, where I kind of suck, it's latched on in a way that I never expected. So whatever magic juice they're pouring on this thing, I'm eating all of it up. Just loving it. All right, there is some other 6.2 stuff and a couple other things we'll get through here real quick before we do some calls. Most excited about the adventure guide, which is coming with 6.2. They explained a little bit more of that, showed some UI. This is the description in 6.2. It introduces the adventure guide, which acts as a landing page of sorts for our other in-game journals, and makes it easier to find content and activities that are relevant for your character, where you're at in the game, what level you are, and so on. I like that a lot. They're always, again, talking about entry points into a game that is big, formidable, been here for 10 years, and is potentially on the decline and has a different kind of, less of an attraction to younger players, perhaps. I feel like this helps answer that, because there are times where you'll come in and go, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do. Where should I go? How should I be? Great, someone's got a question mark over his head, but why are those blue? How come his is yellow? Like, we all are used to these things, but I have a feeling that new players boosting to 90 are still not exactly knowing exactly what to do. It's not as hand-holdy as it maybe could be, and some people hate that, but I actually think this is a good move. So I'm excited about that.
I was very excited about the adventure guide, and I'm really happy that you thought it was really exciting too, because I felt a little bit guilty about the my level of excitement for this thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, it takes, WoW has always been the MMO where you don't worry too much about a lot of things. You just go to the quest guy and do what he tells you to do. And this, the way I understand it, is sort of a meta quest thing. Mm-hmm. You just open the journal, see what it tells you to do, and go do it and have fun doing it. It almost becomes, a little bit Diablo-ish in a way, I guess. You just open the thing, go where you have to go, and just do the quest, and then you're happy, and you've done some of the content that that is appropriate for you. Yeah. And of course, it's not going to be for everyone, but for my gameplay style, I think it's going to fit perfectly, because now I've become very casual in WoW. I log in, once or twice a week, and there's so much to do. It is a little bit overwhelming, mm-hmm. and this is going to supposedly take a look at your item level, your level, what quests you have, all of this. And it's just going to tell you, hey, why don't you go do this? Yeah. Of course, you can ignore it. You can still go and do your thing, but it just makes it even more hand-holdy. And for me, I think that's good.
Well, in the theory, it could come in and say, hey, Paladils, you've not done your legendary ring thing or whatever. And you may not have logged into that character for a long time or realize that you were that far in the chain. You could, oh, really? Cool. I'm like 10 feet from there. I'm going to go talk to that guy. Like, I don't know how it's going to be in practical use, but it seems on paper.
I haven't actually tested it. Yeah, but if it works in in the fashion that I'm expecting it to work, it will be very cool because there are times I log in and I'll say open up my achievements list or something like that and look for something that I'm close to finishing or is nearby me or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you have to, like, the overachiever mod will show you what's nearby that you can actually go do.
Right.
But outside of that, I'm just kind of, scrolling through my quest log, scrolling through achievements, figuring out what my next move might be sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's not very organized.
Yeah.
So
and his name, he really does have a character named Paladils, by the way.
I really do.
Yeah, he's great.
All of my characters have the word Dills in there somewhere.
He led us heroically through ICC, as I recall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Death Dills a little bit, too.
I got Pandills, of course. Yep. Panda. You got Dills Dini, who's my mage.
Yep.
Death Dills, the Death Knight.
Yep.
War Dills.
Yeah. Straight up Dills for your hunter.
Yeah, just straight up Dills.
Yep.
No, yeah, he's the original.
I like it. I like the theme. Rob Pardo, remember him? Big deal there at Blizzard for a while. He left, and a lot of people thought it was over some weird creative differences about the direction of things, but he had a lot to do with Hearthstone launch, so he's credited with a lot of that. Kind of a big deal with Blizzard for a very long time. He left last summer. Nobody really knew where he was headed, but it appears that he is now working with Unity, the engine people, with their latest release, Unity 5, as what they were referring to as a creative advisor. He makes a global tour to meet with developers where he's traveling around talking to people. Blizzard used the Unity engine to create Hearthstone as a point of reference. And, that's interesting. It seems like a little quieter role. Like, you don't have to be quite as...
Must be nice, to just, like, get the credentials required to then just slip into an advising role and then just get paid pretty well to just talk to people.
Yeah.
About what you've done in the past,
that feels like, I don't know anything about any of this, but it feels to me like this is a not temporary, but sort of a side thing where Unity was like, hey, would you want a little bit of money, by which I mean a lot of money, to come and do this for us? And he was like, well, I've been out, I've been chilling for like 8 months. Mm-hmm. I guess I could do a little bit of but I don't think that's what he's going to end up doing. I can't imagine Pardo is not going to either be hired for an obscene amount of money by another company. I'm sure there are tons of companies, courting him every day. And you were sort of very light on what he did. He is basically at the core of every major success that Blizzard has had not every major success, but a lot of the major successes that Blizzard has had for the past 15 years. He was the WoW 3 guy, the Warcraft 3 guy, the WoW guy. He was essential to the building of Blizzard from the 80s up, the 90s up.
Instrumental in getting the movie made finally too. He had a big hand in that.
So ultimately, he's either going to be hired for a lot of money or he's going to start his own thing, I'm sure, and launch his own company. Maybe he just wants to chill. But I don't think that's I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in a much bigger way than creative advisor.
Do you know how quickly I would purchase a book that told the inside story of Blizzard? I would love to read and I'm not looking for scandal here. I just mean I want to read about the time where Morhaime, had to go cash credit card money to pay payroll and those early lean years and, the falling apart of the deal with the Warhammer people in Games Workshop and then instead doing Warcraft and, what
interesting.
Yeah, what it's like to see StarCraft become a national sport in other countries, and it just must be it's got to be a fascinating tale. Or at the very least, I wish someone would do like a really in-depth, well-made documentary about the rise of Blizzard.
Well, we have a lot of those for Apple and IBM and Apple and Microsoft.
Yeah, if we can have 7 Steve Jobs movies. Right. We can have
oh, you mean that? Yeah, like a docudrama. How about that? Like, who would play the role? Josh Gad can be one of those guys. It's got to be a bunch of. I guess I just have Silicon Valley in my head as the starting of Blizzard, and I probably shouldn't do that, but I bet it's fascinating.
I think instead of that, you should just get it should be like Tom Hardy plays, just a bunch of beefcakes at The Rock.
Yeah,
Mike Morhaime.
I love it. I love it. Welcome to BlizzCon. Just have that whole geek is thing with somebody. Actually, Morhaime could play.
You smell what the Morhaime is cooking.
Metza could play himself because he's kind of badass, but everybody else.
In there. He's fine.
Finally, little note here: if you want to get more lore in your World of Warcraft life, you can now pick up the short story Apocrypha. It is a downloadable PDF written by Matt Burns, and it uncovers the mysteries of the Arakoa Society. So if those damn birds are, their history is something you're wanting to dive into, well, hot damn, Matt Burns has you covered. Go get it. It's on the official site.
I've always been wondering about those Arakoa.
I know, right? Don't trust them. They get the voice. They're one of their leaders has the voice of Megatron, and I don't like that idea. So
the really annoying thing about them is when it's spring and the trees are getting all springy and they sit on the branches and poop on you. That I hate that.
Yeah, right. Well, French.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
France.
like come on, you're sentient, man. You don't have to be pooping up there in a tree.
Sentient man. I like that idea. All right, here we go. Let's do some of these.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Why, it's the town crier.
That little kid you hear laughing, he starts learning how to drive as of next Saturday. He'll have his learner's permit. So think of that. Think of that. Oh, man. I don't want to think about it. Let's talk about this instead. You can call us, leave us voicemails at 801-471-0462, or you can email us, theinstance@gmail.com. That's theinstance@gmail.com. Send attachments and or emails there. Keep them short and interesting. It'll make it on the show. Here's a question about consoles.
Hey, Instance Crew. This is Dark Lorenzo from Harry Pete server. Hey, with Blizzard coming more and more onto console platforms, I was wondering if you could shed some light on some boxes that I've been seeing on the internet by off-brand, being other brands other than Microsoft, coming out with, like, Alienware has their own consoles. Maybe you could tell us what those are, because I've seen them around, but I don't know what they are. Maybe you can help.
All right, so these are basically, some are Steam boxes, but essentially you're talking about PCs that connect to a TV and kind of behave like consoles, are more controller-centric, that sort of thing. You can run Steam Big Picture mode on them. Nothing new there, but the core of his question is one that we get a lot, which is, well, we keep talking about how, World of Warcraft wouldn't work in a console environment. Would it work with one of these boxes? And the answer is yes, but you'd still need your mouse and keyboard. Sure, it would work. You'd plug it in.
No,
technically you can plug in your PC.
You can do it right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if that's
it doesn't work in the sense that yes, you can sort of put a piece of wood to support your mouse and keyboard, but you need the mouse and keyboard. Traditionally, when you're in front of your TV, you're going to have a lean back experience with the couch, and everything is going to be the even on the UI portion of it. Yes, your TV is going to be huge, but the UI is not really designed for that kind of format. Some UI elements are still going to be relatively small because supposedly you're 15 inches away from your screen. Mm-hmm. Here you're going to be a lot farther from it, so unless you have a giant TV, the text is going to be unreadable. The text for quests, when you're going to have to click on something, it's not going to be as easy. All of this, and just the fact that you have a keyboard and mouse as you're sitting on your couch, it's not the most comfortable thing.
Yeah.
It can work, and I'm sure some people do it, and we're going to get some emails saying, hey, I do it all the time. It works great. And yeah, technically it does.
Right? I had WoW running on a TV once just for fun on a big 50-inch just to see how it would work. But it was unusable long-term because I'm not going to sit there with a mouse and keyboard on the couch like you said. I'm not going to get resolution to a place where I can finally read text and not have to walk up to the TV and see what's going on. I'm also not going to use some other third-party trackpaddy garbage that's going to try to mimic what it's like to use a mouse and keyboard. So it's not very practical. However, I've always maintained, and I believe this more now than ever, after playing a lot of Diablo 3 on console, they nailed that interface. And they did it in a way that it was a complete overhaul of the traditional Diablo interface, and they made it work. So what I mean by this is, do I think Blizzard could do it? Yes. Do I think they ever will? No, because there's no other big motivations to do it. There was with Diablo. There's not here because they've got a base. They know what that is. They're not desperate for console numbers. I don't see any reason why they would ever do it.
Listen, the console market is enormous. as big as you think the PC market, the PC gaming market is, the console market is, that's where the gaming money is. It's in consoles. If there was a way that it could work on consoles, I think we would have seen WoW a while ago.
I'm not sure you're right, though. I think it's shifting, dude. I think I'm not saying you're not wrong about traditionally the way the market is where consoles are where the big money is. I feel like there's a weird shift back, though, right now.
Then you are smoking something.
But why do we need World of Warcraft on there? What about, so Diablo went over there. What about Heroes?
Yeah, Heroes could work, sure.
Heroes,
they
Overwatch,
have plenty of other kinds of Overwatch would absolutely work on a console.
Hearthstone would work.
Hearthstone would totally work with a controller. You could do that.
If you put Hearthstone on like the PlayStation Network, where you can just download it and whatever, and they don't buy a box, and you just get it. It's like free to play. Boom, here you go. It's on your thing now. People buying packs on their PlayStations. Like, there's no reason why none of this could happen. So they could definitely
totally do
console.
It. Sure.
I just don't think it's with World of Warcraft. That's all.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, from a company perspective, if your game is going to work on another, if your successful game is going to work on another format, the only reason for not doing it is that you don't want more money. You're like, no, I do not want that money you want to hand me. And that does not make sense. That's why I'm saying if they could do it, they would have.
Yeah. See, Diablo works really well because
if they could do it well,
you sell the box, right? So the box, like Diablo, the game, you buy the game, then you have the game. Heroes would be, I think, another thing where it'd be like a downloadable thing where you never buy the disc. You don't buy a disc and put it in. You just download it over the networks, which is now such a huge thing on Xbox and PlayStation that all this makes total sense.
Yeah, it's a time they could do it more than ever, for sure. No question.
I remember mentioning this when I was someone mentioned this while I was playing a Heroes game with Garrett, and Garrett went immediately into Garrett mode, which is like, no, this will never work. And it's like, no, because you're used to the keyboard, right? And I'm used to the keyboard, so I probably wouldn't play. Like, I don't play Diablo on console, and I probably wouldn't play Heroes on console. But plenty of people who never played any MOBA on a keyboard with a mouse would feel totally fine playing.
They'd be separate. They'd be separate player bases,
and they're not us. Yeah, and they'd be split off. Like that's the thing. You have to remember, like, your experience isn't the same as everyone else's. So even though, like, I think that I wouldn't want to play Heroes without QWE and a mouse, other people are going to be totally fine with it. So like,
and it could
separate.
It would be a separate player base, and it would probably be just like Diablo. It would need to be adapted to some extent because you don't have the pointing device and all of that. So it would need to be adapted. But
absolutely, because you have to be able to, like, engage with your mini map and things like that, which is tougher to do. So there'd have to be concessions made and UI changes. But I feel totally confident that Blizzard could figure out how to make that. I mean, if they can put Hearthstone on my iPhone on a tiny little screen, they can put Heroes on my console.
It's funny. It's funny what consoles do to things. Like, I don't ever play melee characters on the PC version of Diablo, but I play almost exclusively melee characters on the console. And I think the reason is, even with those innovations in the interface, it's not so simple for me with a wizard, for example, to use a teleport ability on a console, because it's not that same sort of, well, I'll just put my mouse up here and that's where I want to go.
Yeah, you don't put the mouse where you want to go. Yeah.
It's very different that way. So it would have challenges with all these abilities that are already in the game, even at this stage. But absolutely,
absolutely, it'd be more smart casting and stuff like that, and that's where they'd have to figure things out. They'd have to have some sort of. It's like, I don't know if you guys ever play like Madden or stuff like that, where you essentially choose your receiver by kind of pointing in that direction.
Yeah.
So you do things like choose your target by pointing in that direction, and then your skill shot would go off kind of at him already, and things like that. Like,
I mark my words. I will be shocked within 12 months. There is at least not an announcement or even a full release of Hearthstone on consoles. I'm shocked they're not there already, to be honest. It's so easy for them to port that over there.
I think honestly what it is just the money was in mobile first. That's probably where you're going to get, because mobile gaming is absolutely massive, and this game is like tailor made for it.
Yeah.
So they just you need to do one thing at a time. So I think they just concentrate on getting that going, and then now we got that. What's the next step?
Definitely not WoW on PC. And one of these days, Patrick, you're coming on the Boop Show, or I'm coming on Pixels, and we're going to have it out about the state of PC gaming and why I think it's on a rise, and why console gaming is starting to change to a point that it may not be even relevant in a couple of years.
We could have. Well, what I'm saying is, right now, PC is on the rise, of course, but it has a long way to go before. Look at the numbers. Anyway, all right.
I don't think it's as long as you
think.
We'll
have a discussion.
It's not as long. It's not as long as you think. I think it is much shorter distance than you think now.
Well, listen, the day that prices of games on PC are the same as the ones on consoles, then we can start to talk. The reason why they're cheaper on PC is because it's a small market.
But they're not. See, if you
they are.
If you want to go buy a AAA title, you're going to pay $60 either way.
Well,
I don't know. What are you doing in France?
You don't.
Okay, France. I don't know what's happening in France.
Okay, well, I was just...
The naked ladies are dancing.
But here in America, no. If I want to get like Advanced Warfare on the day it comes out, or this new Call of Duty, whatever the third one is, what's it called?
It's
Black Ops 3.
Here, at least, they're the exact same price.
Yeah, 60-60 across the board, and it's not always true of indies. Yes, there's definitely some changes or differences between indies versus console where they do cost more, but AAA titles are, they're parity. So I want to move to France suddenly.
Yeah. I think you're looking, though, at the biggest change that would be made is when you can buy a gaming PC for $400.
Yeah, there you go.
Good.
Because
right now it's like if you're not somebody who can build your own PC, or somebody who has some actual serious cash to drop on like a doghouse system, you're gonna just go, well, PlayStation 4, $400.
Yeah,
there you go. Now
you're totally right.
I'm playing.
You're totally right about that. But there's disruptive things coming. Like these Steam boxes, if they actually do what they're claiming they want to do, you are talking about a $300 or $400 device.
That's what I'm saying. These machines are kind of the start of that.
Yeah.
Which would then even the playing field.
You're smoking something, and I would love to talk about
reality. I'm smoking reality.
A big, nice, rolled up blunt of reality is what I'm smoking. All right, well, we'll talk about more of that at a different time, but it's a worthy topic. Class balancing. Here's a call.
Hey, Instance Crew. This is Bob from Servo Malganis. I was just wondering, with the class balancing that they seem to do every single patch, it just seems to push one class, one spec above the other specs. Like I play Death Knight, and next year it looks like I'll be playing Frost instead of Unholy. And, with Hunters, it's, one spec higher than the other. Mages, every single class is the same. So I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that. Thanks. Love the show.
So, part of the reason, the reason that changes on the regular for players now is because, they make a change in a patch and they tweak some numbers around, and then suddenly survival isn't my best choice for rating. Something else, marksman is the one to choose because I'm getting more DPS output or whatever. I don't know how you get around that, but
they're not trying to necessarily make one better than the other.
No,
they're trying to balance, but the fact is the player base figures it out, and then once the smartest people in the room figure it out, they then post that on the internet, and then everybody changes what they do.
And then Blizzard goes,
and
then Blizzard goes, well, crap, we can't swing too far the other way and just nerf that right away. We have to, these are the challenges people don't think of. I cannot imagine a more difficult job than was Greg Street, now whoever's there now. Is it Arsalan or Arsalan? He raids with us. What's his name?
Holinka.
Holinka. Well, yeah. In his case, PvP even more so. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they keep track of all that stuff, all those variables, all these changes. Everything affects everything, and it's just so one innocuous change, you're gonna you have a chance of proccing lock and load an extra time. That alone can change the balance of everything. So you have to domino effect everything. I don't know how they do it.
They try their best to make it as even as they can, and then it's just impossible to actually do because there's so many abilities and so many variables and things that proc, and then you'll see after maybe a big change is made that they'll go back and they'll adjust things slightly, right? They'll move the percentage from 10 to 12% or something like that on the damage bonus you get on this one particular ability, in the hopes that then they will move the one that's the lowest closer to all three, and then they'll all be the same. It's just never going to actually be all the same because there's just too many variables, and that's just how it is. Yep. There's always going to be one that's going to be better than the other. It's not because they're attempting to. It's not because they go, we don't want you playing Frost anymore. We want you playing Unholy. It's because they're trying to do their best, and everybody figures out what the best actually is.
Yeah.
No, actually, all of this is wrong. Having worked at Blizzard for a little while, I can tell you that the way they do it is that they look at the classes and the specs they like to play and buff those in the upcoming patch.
So you're saying that they all play Hunter?
Basically,
everybody at Blizzard
doesn't everyone?
Yeah, because hunters right now are so OP that clearly they love hunters and hate everything else.
Well,
this is good to know.
I mean, I definitely feel like the hunters have been at or near the top of the DPS meters for quite some time.
Yeah, so it must be that they are all preferring them and not liking other classes they've made. So I like feeding the beast here, Patrick. This is a good idea. Let's get some people riled up. We got one more call.
They hate paladins.
Yeah, yeah. We got one more call. This is about cosplay at BlizzCon, and it's a very interesting point about tickets and who goes and all that stuff we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
This is Adam from Ontario. On the topic of the ticket sales from last show, I personally know a few people who are into the cosplay scene who have tickets and are going to BlizzCon this year and have spent 0 minutes across any Blizzard game. If Blizzard were to take control of the sales again, one option might be to have a few simple requirements, such as requiring a Battle.net account and maybe a few easy to achieve hours on at least one game over 1 to 3 play sessions. Anyways, keep it up. Love the show. See ya.
So this is based on Terpster's assertion that if somebody was to get into BlizzCon, they had to at least play a game to earn the ticket or whatever the whole thing was. And this was an interesting point. There are a lot of cosplayers, for example, that only buy tickets to go and cosplay, and they don't care about the games. It's interesting. Yeah. I don't know
but
how many.
They care about the games to a certain extent. They care about the style and the fashion of the games. But you could have... I mean, really, if you want to do this, you're trying to make a convention, you're trying to make it for gamers, you're trying to cater to gamers. Gamers really like cosplayers. They like people who are there dressed up as some of their favorite characters from these games. So you could have a certain amount of cosplayer tickets available.
Yeah. Patrick, if you're going this year, what are you going to dress as? What's your plan?
The
Scarf Man.
Annoying Frenchman.
Oh, well, then that's too easy. You don't have to do anything special. I don't actually believe that. He's the least annoying French person I know. All right.
Yeah, out of all the other French people who are all really annoying, you're the one who's the least.
You also have the least stereotypic accent. You have the least stereotype.
Oh, but I can do that.
Yeah, if you want to do it.
I can.
Yeah, you actually say TH instead of Z, which is
yes. I can do the French accent very easily. Actually, this is the real way I speak French. But when I speak with you, I try to do a slightly better English accent, but it doesn't always work.
Fantastic.
So,
yeah, I feel like you just when you speak in that type of accent, your mouth is just full of saliva. It's just you just need to hawk a loogie, man, and move on.
Get that thing out and go back to the Patrick voice. All right, that's it for the show. But we said at the top of the show that we were going to have a brief conversation about what each of us thought of Avengers 2. I realize this is completely out of nowhere, and if you haven't seen the movie, chances are there could be a spoiler here or two, so you may want to get out of here. So I'm going to tell you all this stuff real fast, and then we're going to talk about Avengers real fast, all right? So go to theinstance.net. That's the website. You can get all our subscription stuff there, join the blog, hang out, whatever you want to do. Links to our forum, store, all that stuff's there. The Instance Show, Instance Show is the Twitter account. I'm at Scott Johnson. Dills is at Willie Dills. Patrick is at Not Patrick. Our theme was created by Matthew Oxley. Big thanks to Paul Swickard, keeps track of the website. And, of course, more shows like this at frogpants.com. All right, everybody else, if you don't want to hear anything about Avengers, get the hell out of here. If not, stick around because we're going to talk about it now. All right. You know what? I should start it with this because I actually have a theme we can use. Hold on. Okay, here you go. My least favorite line in the first Avengers movie, not this new one, but the first one.
I don't get why you don't like this.
I hate it, but here it is.
I don't see how that's a party.
Okay, there you go. That's our theme. Let's get started. All right, Patrick, you saw the movie.
That's sexist, Scott. Can't believe you're talking about Black Widow in such a sexist way.
Yeah, at all. Bringing her up at all seems to elicit quite the attack.
Like, we should just ignore the fact that she exists.
Yeah, it's really weird. Or what gender she is. Patrick, you've seen it three times?
Yep.
Okay. I feel like you're the most qualified to go ahead first here and tell us what you think.
So basically, premise. I adore Avengers 1. I think it's the best movie ever made. I think it might be the best thing ever made by anyone ever.
Jeez.
And that includes, the invention of the wheel, electricity, and the internet.
Okay.
So I did have pretty high hopes for, Avengers 2 in the sense that I really wanted it to be great. So there you go. That's the way I went in. I was trying to be realistic and thinking that it couldn't be as good as the first one, but expectations were irrationally high. That being said, expectations were not met. And I think I like the movie. I wouldn't have gone and seen it 3 times if I didn't like it, but I think it lacks a lot of what what made the first one great, which was the first one felt like it captured lightning in a bottle. It felt like everything that it tried to do worked. It was, some movies have funny scenes and action scenes and interesting scenes and good comebacks and good one-liners. This one was one continuous version of all of these at the same time. The action scenes were funny and exciting, and the Avengers together, and that incredible coming together of the Marvel universe. But more importantly, it was one movie experience that made sense, that concluded the phase 1 of the Marvel movie thing satisfactorily. It was very well crafted, and it contained everything that we need and we wanted from that everyone could have wanted from that last movie of the phase. The second one feels like I would say a couple of things. It feels like not like the end of a story. It feels like a link in the chain of the Marvel movies. And it feels like a movie, one of the first movies that is so comic booky and not just movie-y, that I understand that the super comic book fans love it and can't see anything wrong with it, but it's one of the first ones, one of the few ones that I wouldn't recommend to that I wouldn't necessarily recommend to the not comic book fans. The other ones I could tell anyone, just go watch it, you'll have fun. This one, it's very, very comic booky with its good sides and faults. And everything in this movie, every single scene, every portion of the movie feels like it's a setup for something that's coming later. And everything that isn't a portion of a scene that isn't given the space that it needs to not suffer from the fact that everything else is a setup. And nothing breathes in this movie. Everything is constraints. I mean, the twins, the Romanoff twins are not developed enough. The vision feels weird. I think everyone agrees that the scene with Thor when he goes into the pond of weirdness, it makes no sense. And
scene in the church when they all start kicking trash, one of the best little today.
Thank you. I'm very hungover.
Sexy.
I'm extremely tired.
Oh, really?
Je suis fatigué. Je suis très fatigué.
Patrick, we will wake you up.
You do speak French.
We will wake you up
this time.
All this time he's been saying to me, Terpster, le dick. And I was like, I wonder what he's saying. So I learnt it so I could understand how he was bashing me.
Lay dick. That's the dick, right?
That is yeah.
That's the accurate translation.
Terpster the dick. All right. Let's record. Here we go. It's time to go.
I noticed you bleeped my swearing last episode.
Did I?
Oh wow, what did he say?
I don't remember. Did you F-bomb it?
Yeah, when I was talking about frog legs and chicken things.
Oh, I think I thought it was so funny I couldn't take it out. I thought it was really funny. I think that's what happened. It's been a week, so I don't remember anything. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Well, I hope this show wakes you up. It'll wake you right up.
Censorship, man. You can't censor the truth.
Old Dungeons will wake Patrick right up. Here we go. Let's start it. It begins in 3, 2, 1.
Horde side.
You're listening to the The Instance.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Instance. This is The Instance episode, 408 for, what's the week? What's the day? Friday, April 17th, 2015. April flying along like it doesn't care, like it doesn't give two shits what you think about time. My name is...
What?
I know. My name is Scott Johnson.
I don't understand any of those things.
And that person who is shocked is Terpster. Hi, Terpster.
Hello, me.
Hey,
and
man.
hello, Scott.
Hello.
And hello, Patrick.
Oh, Patrick's here too. Hi, Patrick.
Patrick's here.
Oh, hey,
Wow.
how's it going there?
Oh,
I
fine.
didn't see you.
Oh, we missed you. No, we missed Terpster because he was gone for 2 weeks, but we didn't miss Patrick. He was here. You were here. It was fine.
I was here. Terpster wasn't.
If you had been gone,
I didn't
then they
really
would have
miss
missed you.
him.
Yeah, of course
Well,
not.
no, let's not.
Well,
you did. You did.
were-
There's nothing wrong with missing. I missed you.
You were
I'll say
all
it.
over my Twitter feed and my thoughts, which is why I did.
Brilliant.
I did
Okay.
really
Oh, yeah,
really
that's
do
good.
this.
We never truly are apart because of those fine technologies.
Never shall we be.
Dill's had an early morning meeting. He's not here, but we're here. And there's stuff that actually happened. Here's the best part about you missing 2 weeks in a row. They were literally the most deserty news weeks in the history of World of Warcraft, and I'd say that without any kind of hyperbole. That was true. There's nothing going on. So we talked about a lot of fun stuff, but quite literally, it has been the quietest thing. As it turns out, it's because the whole quiet before the storm thing. Because now there's tons of things to talk about.
or one might even say the quiet before the blizzard.
Oh, jeez!
Oh,
I see what you did. I see what you
Where'd you get that
did.
from?
Wow.
Thank you.
No.
Hey, can I say something before we get
Of
into the
course you
show?
can. Yeah.
I last week, I can't remember when it was, but there was the podcast awards.
Yes.
A few days ago.
Oh yeah. Congrats to us.
I didn't realize that there were so many Frog Pants and DTNS and Night Attack and all of this and Diamond Club shows entered, and everyone, like in all of the categories where one of those shows from our group was in the running, they won.
Yeah, we swept it.
And I woke up to Twitter to a torrent of tweets of congratulations to everyone I care about in this community, and it was an awesome feeling. So the community did an amazing job, and I love all of you guys, and I'm hugging you right now virtually.
The funny thing is, I
we're
thought
the best gaming show.
Yeah, we are the
according to
best
that.
gaming show.
Where
in the
really
instance.
the truth is we're the show allied with the most other voters for this thing.
Yeah, no, that's
Which is
exactly
great. I
how
still
it
like
works.
that.
It's
I
exactly
think
how it
that
works.
works.
It is all on the backs of
And
fans.
Chris Jericho, wasn't he hosting it?
He did. Him and Emily, I forget her last name. She has a podcast as well, been around forever. Those two hosted it. They were fine.
They weren't fine. They were crap.
All right, it was kind of terrible. But what was fine, here's the best part of the whole thing. We swept every category we were in. That's a total of 3 shows that I physically record and produce won. So Film Sack, The Morning Stream, and then this show. And then Night Attack won in their 2 categories they were nominated in, both video and mature, which is their weird categories. Tom won for his Daily Tech News show in the technology category. Brian Ibbett won for Coverville. And was that it? I think that was all.
And for those who didn't see it, Ibbett basically went up the stage 4 times to receive awards in other people's names because he was the one representing them.
Yeah.
Initially, Jericho and the other presenter were like, "Oh, haha, guy with the funny hat, he's coming back again." And by the 4th time, they were like, seriously?
Look,
him?
Chris
again?
Listen, Jericho, whose whole career in wrestling was based on fake outcomes of fake things, was starting to look.
Don't be mean.
Well, wrestling, he started to have a look on his face like, maybe something's up here, like something weird going on. And in their head, they weren't connecting that in some cases he was just representing, or that the community was large enough to do that. In their heads, they're like, one guy is coming up to get all the awards. Something is amiss. Something is going on here. But nothing was. You guys just all voted for us. It was all clean and on the above board, and we're incredibly humbled by it. And thanks for the win.
And thank you so much as I was saying, this community is incredible. And I've never cared about any of those awards ever.
Right.
And I think they're kind of dumb, to be honest. But still, winning
say it
those
like you
dumb
mean it.
things like for shows
No,
that
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
involved
exactly.
in, it was kind of like, oh, thank you guys.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That's really cool. I mean, the instance has won only one other time in a previous year. I want to say it was like 2010 or 09 or something.
Well, you didn't have Patrick.
Not in our time. I don't think
No.
it was in. I didn't think I was there. Was I? I think it was Randy.
I think it was still Randy and I, and it was a long time ago. And that's back when they just did them over Skype. Like there was no award show. He just kind of did it over Skype.
It was also back when the instance was really good because they just stuck to the topic and
right. We kept.
There wasn't
to
like Hearthstone or something like that to talk about. But if it had been, they would have just kept to it anyway.
No, it wouldn't have happened. But honestly, the only category I thought we were going to lose this week was this one. I thought this would be the loss because I heard we barely mentioned it on the show. It was like maybe 1 or 2 times. I wasn't really pushing it, which I don't like to do anyway. I don't like that feeling of hawking it that way. But it didn't seem to matter. Everybody really wanted us to win, and that's how the rules work, and that's how we won. So huge thanks to everybody. Even Patrick, even who hates these awards really. I mean, he's being nice right now. He freaking would like the pee, hot yellow viscous pee on it. He hates it so bad. Viscous, like really bad. You haven't been drinking enough water, too much red meat. Just nasty cheese pee.
I don't think even if you don't drink any water, I don't think your pee should be viscous.
It should never be.
That you should probably see a doctor about that.
Yeah, it should never be thick and liquid. That's true. Gross. Let's move on. There's a lot to talk about. I have been slowly leveling through my garrison missions. My gear, that is, my eye level, because I haven't been raiding very much lately. We talked about it last week at length, Pat Terpster, but I've been feeling particularly the lull between patches, the kind of
it's started to get to the point where you've done a lot of what you're trying to do already.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't touched my mine in weeks. I haven't looked at. I'm sure there's some brand new, fresh potions just waiting for me just down the path. But I've just sat next to the table, hopped in, sent everybody on missions, got some nice gear.
Welcome to my world.
Golden XP. Yeah. I mean, it's basically.
I've had an obscene luck though recently with the salvage yard, where I got a black rock bulwark, and I've managed to have some really kind of cool. I mean, that's a 665 shield I just got out of there.
Yeah.
Just opening something. I've got some trinkets which I've sold. I'm sitting on 130,000 gold now, and it kind of feels like. I guess the token means that potentially people have a little bit more money to spend.
Yeah.
So kind of everyone's getting a bit more money, even the people who aren't directly buying gold.
Yeah.
So good times.
Yeah, that is good. And the salvage yard has been kind to me as well. Although right now I've got like 3 stacks of 20 I need to open. And it's such a job to open it all that I've been saving that for when I have an hour to burn. But anyway, it's not like raid nights haven't been happening. Our raid group's been doing great, but I've had stuff come up or just whatever, and I don't know when the scales need to be tipped, and it's like, well, you could watch Bloodline with your wife on Netflix and binge 3 episodes of that, or you could go raid. I kind of been siding with the today.
Thank you.
Promised a jungle and.
I guess the token means that potentially people have a little bit more money to spend.
Yeah.
So kind of everyone's getting a bit more money, even the people who aren't directly buying gold.
Yeah.
So good times.
Yeah, that is good. And the salvage yard has been kind to me as well. Although right now I've got like 3 stacks of 20 I need to open, and it's such a job to open it all that I've been saving that for when I have an hour to burn. But anyway, it's not like raid nights haven't been happening. Our raid group's been doing great, but I've had stuff come up or just whatever, and I don't know when the scales need to be tipped, and it's like, well, you could watch Bloodline with your wife on Netflix and binge 3 episodes of that, or you could go raid. I kind of been siding with the other thing and not raid, and it's not that I'm not. I mean, my progression in Foundry is terrible right now. I'm barely in there. I just am feeling that thing that every expansion we all feel a little bit, some more than others, whatever. But I'm just starting to feel that way.
You get burned, exactly. It happens because there's only so much that you play and that you do. To be honest with you, like I've started playing the auction house, which is something I never do.
Yeah.
But it's just because that's something that I've never do. And so it's a bit different. And equally, you don't have to do it at any particular set time with a load of other people.
Yeah.
So I think there's still opportunities in the game to do things, but yeah, totally in regards to it being towards the end of a patch, yeah, you can feel that
Yeah, for sure.
And last week we were calling for news about 6.2.
Sure.
And lo and behold,
here it is.
Woohoo!
Let's get right into it. 6.2 has landed on the PTR anyway. It hasn't landed in the core game yet. But let's talk about what matters in that 6.2. It was both announced and PTR'd in the same week. The Tannin Jungle video preview looked really nice to me. Real dark. Like we're definitely headed toward let's say there's no happy shiny panda space in that jungle.
You know, I have to say I was a little bit disappointed. I was promised a jungle, and this is basically a pool,
Hellfire
a pit of fell blood and dark energy and very terrifying. You know, I was planning on having a nice vacation there, and it seems I'm going to have to fight my way through everything. When I want to get to the morning buffet, when I want to go to the, have a swim, it's I think there's a little bit of false advertising in there.
Well, when they asked Gul'dan, where will all of the fell blood be? And he said, everywhere. No, he didn't say it. Yeah, it's everywhere, and it is his fault. Gul'dan has obviously gone in there and had a freaking warlock.
He's done a great job. He's done his role perfectly. Good job, Gul'dan. You've really messed things up. What's the thing is I don't know how kind of close to spoilers we can get with any of this. Well, in the very nature of what we're talking about, this is on the PTR, so
yeah, I think none
of this is in the game yet.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to have stuff spoiled,
I think we can talk about it.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Equally, if you're on the internet, it's like everything's been spoiled already anyway.
Right. These are things where I'm not sure. Well, whatever. My opinion's different on spoiling things generally, but video games, I have a very distinct line. If it's a strictly narrative, linear-based game of any kind of video game, then I'm usually kind of careful with spoilers. But when it comes to WoW, where it's this big sandboxy curated thing, it's hard to talk about what's coming and what's happening without talking about it. So I say we talk about it. It's totally fine.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
So we never did talk about the progression of the ring, and that's where they've decided to put some of the big story points, some of the big beats.
So can we just to clear up my own understanding?
Yeah.
This is 6.2.
Yep.
Are we going to have a 6.3, or is this the end of Warlords of
This
Draenor?
can't be Warlords' end because the bosses don't include a couple of very key figures.
Well, exactly, and equally they said that the last boss wasn't going to be just an orc, and people weren't sure if that meant that Grom isn't just an orc, he's Grom Hellscream. Or if it was going to be like, oh no, it's going to be, Grom, but, Titan blood powered, fell energy, something other. But what's interesting is this seems to be the end of the legendary quest line.
Yeah, for sure.
So last time it ended in the Siege of Orgrimmar, didn't it? It was the final patch ended that.
But think about this. See, I think it works to end that quest line ahead of some final huge chunk of content, because then you have a thing that you're excited to take into that battle that is functionally awesome in there. So I don't think that indicates, like the end of that quest line coinciding with this patch, I don't think that indicates that this is the final patch. There will be a 6.3 and there will be some big Grom thing, and it'll end with him turned into freaking half Manaroth or some weird thing like that. It's not going to be.
You don't think I thought we might even get like some sweet redemption arc, and that because as you go through the legendary quest line, as a lot of people may already have now, so it's not a massive spoiler. But obviously Gul'dan comes along, Kilrog drinks the Kool-Aid, and Grom gets kind of captured.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if maybe we were going to kind of break him free, and he's going to do his whole saving the day but dying thing again. That he's so famous for.
I thought he was... Okay, that's funny you'd say that, because I actually had the same notion, but my notion started way back before we knew the fate of Garrosh, and I thought that what would happen is even Grom would see the insanity of his son and intervene at some point, basically end the madness, and therefore somehow end himself in the process. That's all entirely still possible, obviously, and Blizzard likes these... They like this story arc trick. They like to play around with the idea of redemption, of Vader picking up the Emperor and throwing him down a pipe. Oh, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, let's talk about that after, but
can we talk toward the end of the show just a little about Star Wars, guys? Just a little? Okay.
We have to.
All right. I don't think it's fair not to. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was a national holiday at Blizzard anyway yesterday, so
I have to say, even myself, who's not the biggest Star Wars fan, I was kind of hyped. So yeah, we have to.
Even you were hyped. See, that says something, because the French, they don't like anything. So
I
want to know what you were hyped about. Anyway, here's the thing. Anyway, as far as that story goes, I mean, I don't know what it's going to be, but if the question is, will there be 6-3? Yes, there will be 6-3. Of course, there will be. And I think they want to be quick about it, and I think they want it to be epic and amazing, and they want to do all the things that they do. But we don't know yet, I guess.
I'm curious, when we're talking storyline, it seems they're trying to sort of reconnect this storyline with some, the quote unquote real version of history. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, in order for that to happen, the orcs have to still invade Azeroth. So we can't really win if they want to go that way. So I'm wondering what's going to happen there, because if at the end of the expansion we kind of defeat some portions of the factions, but then the orcs still invade Azeroth and we're like, oh, well, everything's back to normal, we can go home, then it sort of breaks it clean and ends the expansion well. But in order for that to happen, we kind of have to lose a little bit.
Well, are you worried that they're mushing the time zone or timelines together? Is that your concern?
There's both the time zones and the timelines. I mean, really, they could do a better job at between some portions of the map and anyway. Okay, keep going.
Daylight savings and all that other
right.
People love it.
Sure.
I think when you look at the story, one of the final achieves for I think it's for the Legendary Quest line, is time is a flat circle, and it's from True Detectives, and I think it people conjures up this thing that you can make changes to the timeline, but it's going to try and correct itself or repeat itself, and so what's happened before will happen again.
Right.
And we've kind of now seen this with the orcs drinking Manaroth's blood again.
Yeah.
I think that the inclusion of Manaroth as a boss, like he's not quite dead enough, will be, I think I like that a lot. But I think on top of that, Blizzard's been quite smart in creating some really kind of interesting characters this expansion, and yet still kind of backing up those new ones with these juggernauts.
Do you think Manaroth will show up as like a big undead?
Well, yeah, you can see it. You can see there's two versions of him. One of him he's kind of stapled back together with a big kind of cleaved out hole in his head where Gorehow went in, and the other model of him is a skeleton. So I don't know if like on normal and Raid Finder he'll be a skeleton and the other one he'll be more fleshy, or if you DPS him down to 50%, all his skin falls off. I've already seen everything, and then you fight him as a skeleton. I don't know, but they've already started, kind of putting in these cool characters. Like, Manaroth's a really cool character in WoW, and it's such a big thing, and to then be able to say like, oh yeah, you still get a chance to kill him. I know we killed him, but you can kill him. We don't mind that.
It'd be a fine.
I like that.
A fine addition to the Heroes of the Storm lineup.
And then obviously we've got Archimond, who we all remember fondly from Hyjal. He is going to be the last boss for this raid.
Correct.
And he is one of the big daddies of the Burning Legion.
He is that raid, by the way, called Hellfire Citadel. It will be a part of this patch as well, and he is the final boss there. And I think you're on the right path of like where the connective tissue of the timelines will start to come together, because clearly he's got a lot to do with that. And
I think it could conclude the expansion, though.
You think so? That could end it all. You think?
Well, how can you go bigger than Archimond?
Well,
that's the thing. You can have Sargeras, or you could have Kil'jaeden.
Well,
Kil'jaeden was the final boss in Burning Crusade.
Yeah, but Archimond is kind of Kil'jaeden level of greatness and power, and you can't really go all the way to what's his face? You just said
Sargeras.
Yeah, you can't really go all the way to Sargeras. It's like the ultimate evil of the entire lore of Warcraft.
Yeah, he's basically he's the Satan of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Of that religion.
He's the fallen titan.
He's Lucifer. But I think it's I don't know. I think that there's plenty you can do. After this, I imagine we still have to deal with Gul'dan. He isn't one of those bosses. We may deal with him through that legendary quest line. That may be how we resolve, because that's mainly how we've interacted with him so far. But so it could be if there is a raid after this.
Right.
But how does Gul'dan? What happens with Gul'dan is the, again, quote unquote, real Azerothian timeline. He enters Azeroth, right?
So yeah, he came through with the orcs in the first invasion, and then
so in order to reconcile the
timelines,
right?
In order to reconcile the timelines, he would have to survive.
But I don't think it matters, because this is a separate universe, and the timeline doesn't have to go back to how it was.
But it seems to be they're going that way to reconciling the two.
Well, there's two paths, right? So when you're making your time travel movie story, whatever, you either connect them, or you say one is now independently doing what it's doing and the other, is doing what it's doing at the point it was doing it, and you don't connect them. And I think Patrick may be right here. The cleanup way that the simple way is usually to have it all somehow resolve where Marty McFly's photo isn't fading out anymore, and that you've somehow corrected everything. I think they're going to go the way of correcting it. I don't know that I would prefer that necessarily. I kind of like the idea that we are off on our own. The way Star Trek did their reboot, for example. In the movies is kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's like, well, now anything could happen. I don't think there's going to be a drive to correct things, because I don't think we have to. I think what we're going to see, though, is that a lot of those tropes will happen in similar ways. So the orcs drinking the blood happens because that's kind of cool. It makes them, stronger enemies to face up against. The Iron Horde was scary, but the Fell Iron Horde, or the True Iron Horde, or whatever they're calling themselves, is scarier still.
Yeah, and freaking Kilrog is... Okay,
so... Kilrog, I mean, I'm amazed. He drank Manaros's blood. He had a single skull on his braid of his beard.
Yeah.
He drank the blood, and then he had two skulls.
That's crazy.
And I was just like...
He doubled skulls.
Potent. Yeah. Doubled his skulls.
100% skull increase. In one drink. It's insane.
That is, again, I don't think they put that on the side of the bottle, but they probably should let people know the value that you get from drinking that sort of stuff.
I'm very interested in taking him down, because like I've said in earlier shows, he's my least favorite of the warlords, because he's this, and I don't like people like him in real life, the truly fanatically religious, those who are so far on one end that they see everything as a martyrdom and a chance to destroy everything, and he's that guy in this story.
But at the same time, he legitimately has seen how he dies. Like, that's the whole shtick with him, is his clan cut out their eye to see their demise.
Yeah.
So it's not that he's believes in this invisible voice that talks to him from time to time. It's a proven reality. So I think he has a certain level of arrogance where he kind of knows, this is how I'm going to die. This is cool.
Yeah.
I know that's going to happen. So I'm going to go ham up until then. I'm going to drink this demon blood, because I know that's not going to kill me. I know, I die on the toilet eating a cheeseburger. That's going to be how I go.
Wait.
So I have a question about the time circle thing.
Sure.
Can there be a circle that is not flat?
That's interesting, because if you look at a sphere, every angle has a circle, right?
Well, but it's not a sphere is not a circle.
No, but it creates near infinite circles. Is my point.
It's a slice.
Because if you look at a sphere from any angle, there's a circle there, but it's a different angle, therefore a different circle.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
All right. So other features.
Let's talk about this. I like this one a lot. Catch-up mechanics coming according to Watcher devs. This was separate and done on Twitter, but they said that in 6.2 they have plans to make it very easy to move your alts and get them kind of up to par. They didn't elaborate. We don't know what that is. Whatever that is not currently on the PTR, but that's exciting to me, because I would really like to get my mage in a place where I'm happy with him and not have to worry about his garrison or anything else. I just kind of want to get him caught up without all the work. I realize that sounds lame, but hey, whatever. A catch-up mechanic sounds interesting. I mean, is that just me, or do you guys feel good about the idea that Blizzard wants us to carry not just our main characters through all this, but that the others shouldn't be so backpacked with garrison details.
The thing is they have got this weird balance where they have to put in enough stuff for you to do that you can play the game and think, hey, I'm getting value for my subscription. There's so many things for me to do. And then when you have an alt, you have to do all those things again.
Yeah.
And that isn't necessarily as fun the second time around. And I think if Blizzard built the game with the view that everyone had alts and everyone was going to do, they could build it a little bit different potentially. But I think it makes sense that once it gets to a certain stage, they can condense that ramp to get up to the end game, just so that you can start trying out new stuff, playing with new characters, or if you've lapsed over this patch cycle, you can come back and hit it really hard.
Yeah.
So you're sure it's to catch up alts that aren't level 100 yet? I thought it would.
No, I think it'd be gear. Yeah, I thought it was gear.
Right. Okay. So if your alt is already level 100, but you haven't kept up with,
but you don't want to have to do all the heroics, and you don't want to have to go through. Yeah, I think it's going to be that there's going to be a Pexis gear, or there will be something. But we'll see. I don't see them helping us level any quicker. But they could squish the Draenor XP.
That's true.
There's no need to keep that as big as it is now. But
it's so story centric though that they run the risk of because in the old days, if you compressed XP in like vanilla, that made sense because these are just quests that don't really tie a ton of really epic story moments together. But this expansion in particular, I feel like does that really well, and to compress that would mean you're gonna miss a chunk, but maybe you don't care because you've already seen it with your mains. I don't know.
Exactly. It depends. It depends. If you're this late into the cycle, if you really do like the story, you can still play through it even when you're level 100. In fact, it's easier and quicker, so you can consume that a lot faster.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Let's talk about what else. New garrison stuff. They've got a new feature called the Shipyard Naval Missions.
So the Shipyard, exactly. That's really cool. So you can build like frigates, submarines, gunboats. It's basically, it seems to be like a new garrison mission hub type thing. And I think equally, we have to build our shipyard to access Tanan.
Yeah.
I think that's the way in.
That's how you get in there is level 3, then you do that whole quest. Level 3 garrison is required to get in there. And then you got to build a shipyard. That is correct. But from a practical standpoint, I love the idea of these shipyard missions and all this stuff sounds great. But from a practical standpoint, there's no you're not next to a giant body of water in your garrison. I feel like it's going to be a little disconnected. You know what I mean? Is it going to just be a building with a bunch of orcs walking around going, me working, and no real, it would be really cool if we had some kind of iron dock sort of river connected something that just, I don't know, visually, I just want to feel more connected to that than I think we're going to be.
It may be a little bit, you click on a thing and a loading screen pops up and then you're in Tanan.
Yeah.
But what I kind of like this as a potential way to take our garrison forward, though, if we were to have, in the next expansion, a ship, and that's where our garrison was on, and we kitted out a ship. I think that could be really fun.
Some listeners are probably thinking to themselves, well, Scott, Terpster, and Patrick, you could be on the PTR, and you could see how this is implemented right now. We're not really PTR guys. I mean, maybe we should be for testing's sake, but I don't like it because I don't
know. I mean, how do I access it now?
You just
I used to be able to just change my region account.
You just do the little drop down and install it. It's easy.
Yeah, but it's not showing up for me. So
oh, really?
Is it probably out?
Maybe the PTR is not live yet because what it is, that's how you access it.
I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was up.
But it might have been taken down, or it might not be in the EU. But even then, it normally comes up above the live. You get PTR test.
I'm looking at it.
I can see it PTR for Reaper of Souls.
Yeah.
And, Legacy of Void and stuff like that. But I can't get into anything for.
By the way, did you get a Legacy of the Void key? Did you get one of those?
Yeah. It's good fun.
I haven't gotten one yet. Dang it, I wanted it.
It's the Archon mode is brilliant. You can suck with a friend now rather than just suck by yourself. Yeah,
confirmed. The WoW PTR drop down is not there. Maybe there's another way to get around it because I know that it's up. It's in there. People are hot. It's being hot fixed.
Exactly. Maybe it's just down at this point in time. But anyway, PTR. You can go on there. Equally, MMO Champion, Wowhead. There's loads of people out there who are data mining the crap out of it. So you don't have to necessarily go and play it. If you just want to find out about what stuff is going on, you can read about it. I don't really want to play it before I play it.
Right.
I want to play it for real on live and kind of experience it that way. I don't mind knowing what happens. I just don't really want to go through the time and effort of playing it to have that then deleted.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. New dungeon difficulty, Mythic, and it has weekly lockouts. So we're talking about not raids, obviously, but dungeons.
Mythic dungeons, yeah.
Yeah, which is, I think this is a great idea. This is awesome. Gives you something else to do, some more gear, whatever.
It caters for a new type of player, someone who wants a challenge, but in a smaller, more intimate group. Mm-hmm. And I think I've got a lot of friends who raid, and for example, it may get to midnight, and there's only 6 people online. 5 of you can jump in and still have a challenge and still play. So it's always nice to see these extra bits come out.
It's nice rewards in there. All that stuff looks great. So, and I think they're some of their best dungeons they've ever made. So to tack on additional reasons to go and play them again is, I think, is a good thing.
I'm curious about something they mentioned as one way of dealing with the ratio of different roles, having possibly groups that would be larger than 5 people, and having groups of 6 where you add in a DPS so you can get through, potentially add in a DPS so you can get through the queues faster if you're a DPS.
I missed that. Is that a thing they're actually considering?
No. Well, it was something they said it's something. If we wanted, we're looking at how we could address the issues of long queues, and we're thinking this might be a way that we could go about doing it. But because honestly, the reason I'm playing my druid now is that it ensures I can get into dungeons a little bit faster because I'm healing, and I would love to play my mage, or many of my other characters, but that factor alone is kind of hindering me from doing it. So I don't know.
It's a real deterrence, for sure. Like it's almost like I hate to use this comparison because it's not exactly 1-to-1, but when I get into heroes, sometimes my decision to go cooperative when I just need to knock out a couple of daily quests is determined by the fact that I don't have time to wait in the quick match queue, which takes a little longer. Sometimes can take, it took us up to 5-6 minutes, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is when you're at a loading screen, just sort of waiting for things to happen. If you've got limited time to hop into WoW and you want to just burn something out real quick, healers and tanks, well, they're used to just get in, get out. We have to wait.
I mean, to be honest with you, though, at the same time, even for something like Raid Finder, if I queue as a tank, it's quick. It's not instant, but at the same time, I kind of think I've got more responsibility. And sometimes I don't want that. Sometimes I just want a DPS and just be one of many dudes, just kind of getting the job done. So I don't know. Sometimes it's better to have that longer queue if it means that you can enjoy it in a kind of chilled way.
Well, I would like, that's the point. Even it's not as much responsibility when you're a tank as when you're a healer, although you always get crap if your group dies because it's always the healer's fault.
Of course.
But that's the thing. I would like to sometimes have the slightly laid back experience of having being a DPS and not having the long wait time. Anyway, that's sort of a side point. I
love that idea. So
because the mythic difficulty could be really interesting, and I might not play my mage because of the queue times.
Sure. Adventure Guide's been updated. They're evolving into something called, or actually, I'm sorry, the journal is being evolved into something called the Adventure Guide, which is supposed to be a whole lot more detailed and useful. And don't know much about it other than that, but that's coming as well. Of course,
I think I can't remember. They mentioned this initially when they announced the expansion. I'm sure I've seen literature about it.
I was on an internal memo before you left.
Yeah, maybe. So maybe I'm not going to say what I think it is. All right, never mind. Keep going.
That might be, though. That's funny.
I think they did, but I don't know. I think they announced it. But
I thought so.
That's really funny.
Because if it was announced, I can tell you what it is.
I don't know if it's announced or not. That's hilarious, though. It'd be funny if you
I'm
popped
always
out
very
with,
careful because there's still a lot of things that I Well, not a lot, but a few
he
things
thinks
that
he
I
knows.
know that
Thankfully, since Blizzard already announced the squad-based StarCraft shooter, whoops, that was a loud part quiet, quiet part loud. Oh, well.
All right. Well, I can't confirm it, so never mind. I won't discuss it.
Don't want to get you in trouble.
Move on.
Finishing the Legendary Ring, you'll get to do that. So that all happens here. There's already a video up showing the story bits from that. So if you want to go spoil yourself on that, you can.
And the most important thing ever for Scott.
Aspect of the Fox is being taken out. Why do they got to remove stuff, man? I know we're getting nerfed. We're getting nerfed across the board.
So, Warlocks have got it worse than you. So, don't just thank your lucky stars you're not a Warlock right now.
I mean, the truth is, I very rarely was using that stupid ability. It was usually a very specific use case, like Scott run aspect of the foxhole or doing Tectus because there's a reason why, blah blah blah. But for the most part, that's been kind of a wasted item on my action bar, so it's not that big a deal. But I always like to decry when things are taken away from my stuff, and decry is French for the cry. What else? Time walking. Let's talk about this. This is a big deal. This came out a little bit later.
Cool. This is really cool.
If y'all want to be time walkers, now's your chance. There are going to be 7 different weekend events that will run from noon Friday through Monday every week or each week. 2 of those events will be time walking weekends, which you'll be able to queue up for randomly. Select old school dungeons with a new sort of heroic difficulty. And when you do these dungeons, you'll find your character's power and gear has been scaled down to a fraction of what they normally are. So you are being scaled down rather than the dungeons being scaled up. And for the first time in years, dungeons you probably outgrew 6-7 years ago will now put your skills to the test once again. So how are we feeling about... We'll talk about which dungeons are on the PTR now this week anyway, and what they're going to be testing soon.
All the Lich King ones, isn't it?
Let's see. It's the Alcatraz, Black Morass... Mana Tombs time. Yeah, that would be...
it's
Burning Crusade.
Burning Crusade.
Burning Crusade, yeah.
It's honestly, I really, really like... Gosh darn it. It's terrible. I cannot hear anyone say really anymore without having that... Really, and the other thing...
go ahead.
And the other thing is scarves. Anytime anyone says scarves... I feel like strange.
Did you just take your scarf?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
man.
Anyway,
his scarf is to cover his scars. Yeah, on his neck.
I'm extremely pleased with this Time Walker Dungeons, the way they're approaching it, because we've been saying we should have some sort of mentoring system forever.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they're limiting it to specific events and time-limited events will make them a lot more, so much more special and exciting than they would have if they just had added it as, just now you can do any dungeon, anytime, whatever, just go do it. Mm-hmm. Here it's going to be this exciting thing that you need to go in and do if you want to experience it. Mm. And the other thing, by the way, just a side note, there are lots of events, 7 different events, and only 2 of those are going to be Time Walker dungeons. So what are the other ones?
Yeah, we don't. That stuff's not as clear.
Very curious about that. But yeah, it's a surprise, unexpected, not surprising, but unexpected way of implementing it. Yeah. And I think it's going to be very cool. And I'm guessing it's not going to be limited to just twice. They wouldn't do all this work for just 2 times in the entire history of WoW. But yeah, I'm actually possibly even more excited about this than, I don't know, the shipyard, for example.
Sure.
I think exactly. I think the nostalgic element of it is just it's going to be really good.
It's kind of off the charts, yeah. I don't know if they're going to do much aesthetically to these places, other than the models in them are obviously already updated, or will be when they, for models that have been updated. So there's going to be some visual increase of quality in that regard, just sort of naturally, even just with the players being in there. But I love it when they figure out ways to repurpose stuff. It's a lot of great old work that sits relatively dormant, other than people leveling through dungeons or whatever. And this is a great chance to bring them out and use them for something meaningful. I remember loving Mana Tombs. I would love to go in there again for some reason other than just a transmog or whatever people are using it for now. So I'm all for this. I think this is a great move. Twitter's immediate response and the forum's immediate response was, as sometimes predictable, way to rehash old content, give us something new once in a while, Blizzard. And I don't understand the thinking exactly.
It's incredibly ironic because you have a list of patch notes that is, the size of the... Is the Declaration of Independence long?
It's kind of short in a way, but in some ways kind of long. Yeah, I guess.
Nicolas Cage, he did it. It was a long.
So, all right, I'm ready now. We've rehearsed 3, 2, 1. So, which is funny in a way because you have a list of notes in the patch notes that is basically the size of the Declaration of Independence, and people just say with lots of new stuff like new garrison features, new raid, new dungeon difficulty, tons of things. And the one thing they don't like, they go like, "Oh, give us new stuff." It's right here. Just scroll up a couple of lines, and it's there. The new stuff.
Yeah, it's just the easy gut reaction thing to do. But personally, I think that it's a shame when great work goes dormant. And in an MMO environment, I don't know how you get around it. It's a challenge, obviously, for any game. WoW is no different. So when they come up with ways to not fix that, but kind of get things back to where they're useful.
It's tricky though, because the reason that this is on a weekend only thing is it's a little bit like going into your attic and bringing down like your NES, and you're like, oh my god, these games were so amazing. Yeah, I've been playing for an hour. Okay, and yeah, they're not. I mean, they're okay. They're quite good. I mean, yeah, actually, I think I'm going to go play some GTA 5. It's honestly like the nostalgic element of this is great, and it is a real effect. It is a placebo, but it works.
Molten Core, for example, that was that exact thing.
Exactly, but having it there just highlights all of their newer dungeons are better. They are legitimately better dungeons, built with more, sense about it all. And I think,
which is why also it's genius that they're doing it time limited for just a weekend or just a couple of weekends, right?
Yeah,
exactly. It makes all the difference, really. I think
I like it. I think it's fine. I'd love to hear listener reaction because I don't know. I don't understand the freak out. But if you want to play the Nexus again, boom, you're in. Utgard Pinnacle, oh baby, yeah, good rewards too, right? Like what? What are we getting out of this thing?
So basically, they scale up the loot that you get from those dungeons. So if you get, whatever in Utgard Pinnacle, wasn't it that
who lives in a pinnacle
the guy
under
was yelling,
the sea?
I will bathe in your blood or something like that.
Paint your face with my blood. I'll paint your face with the famous instance thing. Yeah,
there you go. Your face with my blood.
Like that guy.
I'll paint your face with your blood.
Yeah.
And so if you get his, bucket of epic paint, then that was level, what was it, 70 at the time? Now it's going to be level 100, but it usually you would get blue items in those dungeons, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm wondering if they're going to be, are they going to make them viable for level 100 6.2 raiding gear level, or is it going to be level 100 blue gear?
That is a really good question about who this is actually for. Is this for people who are already purpled out, or is this for somebody who's in between? And I don't know yet. I mean, it'd be
that's
cool.
going to be something of the catch-up mechanic that they were talking about.
Yeah, I'd love to take my mage in there and do that. In fact, that's exactly what I'd like to do with him, to be honest. I'd rather do that than just about anything else with him right now. And I keep, for whatever reason, I ripped through 90 to 100 so fast with GURP, and I was loving it, and I just ate it up. I'm stuck with my mage at like 97 or something, and I'm not motivated to do anything with him right now. So this would motivate me. So if this is who that's for, I'm all for that. If it's for purples, for people who already have purple fever, great. We'll do that too. But either way, I am with Patrick in this. If I'm ever with Patrick on anything, it's that I'm excited about this beyond most of everything else that's going on in this patch. So there's
which is really ironic because it's the one thing where they're using old content, and I kind of feel very guilty about this. But you know what? I'll get some cool gear and jump into the Hellfire Citadel.
Old content, but new work in it.
People have been asking for vanilla realms forever. People want to play old WoW, and this is a great way to kind of give those people, all right, here you go, shut up.
I think after Molten Core, I don't think a lot of people are still claiming that the old raids were so much better than the new ones.
Yeah, that was a real eye-opener for me. And I think a lot of players just kind of went, ooh, yeah, this is rough in here. We don't like this. Let me get this pet or this mount and get the hell out of here. So maybe that'll happen here. Probably not, though. I think a lot of the old dungeon content, even just leveling alts and stuff, has been really fun through the years, and I don't see any reason why I will ever hate Utgard Pinnacle or Shattered Halls. I think those are fine places to hang out and do things. So Gundrak, even one of my least favorite at the time, but I don't mind it now.
Do you remember Shattered? I also wonder what architecture of Shattered Halls they will implement, because I remember initially, well, I guess it's about abilities, not about the dungeon itself, but back in the day, Shattered Halls was a dungeon where you could not survive if you didn't have a decent amount of crowd control.
Yeah.
If you unsheeped the sheep, then you would die.
Yeah.
That was, if you had the 6 mobs on you at the same time, no amount of healing or excellent tanking could save you. Even Terpster could not have saved the groups where people were.
He could have been wearing my perfect arrow, his shield, and Dill's pants, and it still would have died in that fight. Doesn't matter. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Maybe. I mean, maybe it'll be just as dependent on those things, and that's great because I love using CC and I like the creative.
I don't think so. They've tried here and there to get back to this, but people just don't respond.
These new dungeons are hard as hell, though. Like when you while you were leveling through them, they were difficult as crap, and they did require creative thinking and movement and use of your abilities. So I don't know. I'm not so sure they'll shy away from that stuff. We'll see, though. I watched a video yesterday posted somewhere where they did a bunch of video of vanilla. Someone's running some vanilla server somewhere. So he went in there and filmed a bunch of stuff and then filmed the exact same locations in the current build of the game. And there were 2 things that were very clear about this. Everybody, all the characters and all the old models really do look like shit right now. They look terrible. That was one thing on the old one. In the new one, the zones and areas looked really nice as compared to what it used to. But they had weather effects in almost every zone in Vanilla WoW, and you've all forgotten about this. I had forgotten about this, but it was snowing constantly if you're anywhere near Dwarf Town, and the effects of that, like these big misty kind of clouds coming over your face as you ran anywhere in any direction, snow crisscrossing in front of you. That stuff is gone. It's not in the game anymore. It was always raining in certain places. Like Brill was constantly freaking wet. It's not anymore ever. Like it was a weird thing to notice all that the field of view was a little bit different. Like there's some strange stuff if you go back and watch video of Vanilla compared to now, and I don't know. I was surprised about some of those things I kind of missed because there were some real cool kind of atmospheric things, and a lot of it was I'll fully admit they were there to kind of mask that view distance kind of sucked in Vanilla, or you had to kind of make up for other technical limitations of the engine at the time that were now just no problem with. And to be honest, I think I remember during Vanilla thinking the weather effects were annoying and I wish I could turn them off more. But to see them again kind of made me a little anxious for that old time. So there you go. Nostalgia at work, everyone. Get the NES out of the attic. Play Balloon Fight until your eyes bleed. All right.
There you go.
BlizzCon tickets sold out. Wave 1 sold out in about 2-3 minutes or something.
It broke Ticketbrite.
Yeah,
Eventbrite sort of thing.
Eventbrite, that was supposed to do well this year, but I guess it still broke that for a minute at least.
It's obscene. It's just huge. It's huge.
Yeah. I don't know any other way you do it. Like, can anything withstand it? Probably not.
Well, I don't know. So they've been running this Star Wars convention in the Anaheim Convention Hall this past weekend, and that's Star Wars, and they're showing this where they premiered the teaser trailers. I mean, obviously we've all seen them now as well, but that you could buy tickets. You can still buy tickets now. It's finished, but you can still buy tickets.
There's an easy way to handle this. I'm not sure why they don't think. I mean, it works now, but an easy way to do it would be to open the submissions for a week, and then you randomly select people who get the right to pay for the ticket, the way Apple does it for WWDC, basically.
Oh, right. I hadn't thought of that, but doesn't that feel like the worst form? Well, it's the worst form of RNG coming from Blizzard, right? Like you're gonna literally be randomly selected.
I don't know that it's worse than, staying up forever and hoping that you will click at the right second to get your ticket.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think some people
this way, the current way makes the people that are the most dedicated more likely to get it.
I think some people are under the impression that they're skilled at it, and I think when you take that away, they will just assume that it's more random, and then they would have gotten it had they been able to manually do it. It's kind of like saying, "Well, I would have survived this avalanche if I'd have been there because I know, whatever."
That is a perfect.
It's
analogy.
a bad analogy. It's here's your analogy. What's his name? Mark Wahlberg. It went under fire not too many years ago for saying that if he was on one of those planes that slammed into those buildings on 9/11, he would have diverted that plane, taken it over, and gotten it back. Easy to say if you're in it. And again, this is an extreme example. But my point is, I know, like for example, my brother-in-law who was absolutely 100% dedicated to making sure he got tickets this year. He would much prefer that he had his hands on that steering wheel than it just randomly came or didn't. Do you know what I mean? Even though that may be ultimately what happened. Like, he just happened to luckily be where he was, he still feels like he had his hand firmly gripped on the control. And if you take that away from players,
here's a better analogy. It's imagine that you're buying a donut and you want a token, and when you buy the donut with the token, it's okay. Never mind.
Wait, donut tokens or donut tokens? I want more info.
I don't know. This sounds genius, though. So I buy a donut and I get a token, and then I go to BlizzCon.
Yeah,
basically, yes.
I'm going to write Donut Dokens down as a possible title for today's show. There we go.
Okay. It was a reference to the previous episode.
We talked about donuts.
Terpster
listened to it. Of course he did.
Yeah.
They're sold out. Is it this Saturday that is the next wave? It's this tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's tomorrow, the 18th.
Yeah. So get ready again. Get your clicking fingers ready. It's, wave 2 on its way. And congrats to everybody who got tickets the first time. Finally, a couple more things here. Holinka gave a really good chat to MMO Champion, or MMO Champion broke down a video that they did there at Blizzard with CM Lore and Holinka talking about PvP. We won't go into huge detail here because we're not giant PvP guys here, but I know Dills loves this sort of stuff. It's a great Q&A and is completely worth your time. It's at MMO Champion right now and worth your reading time. It looks like the WoW token finally will settle somewhere in the mid 20K. That's what all the predictions say. That's kind of where it is right now. Now that it's found its potential standard value sort of index there.
Well, the thing is that part of this patch, they found some new icons, and they're for faction change, race change, and server transfer. And there's no need to have icons in the game because all of those transactions have been completed via the Battle.net backend. But the thoughts are now that the token is going to be able to be redeemed against other services, potentially. And that may be a way to encourage people to buy it and keep the value up. So that'll be interesting if that happens. But that's the kind of tinfoil because there's some things in there.
Right. Data mined icons.
The problem is the token costs $20.
Yeah.
And these services have different prices. So I don't know that could work. Also, couldn't it just be the in-game store? And you need icons and stuff for...
That's possible. It's possible. I mean, if you're going to think of it this way. If you want to make a faction transfer... Currently, you have to go through. You do it out of the game, like Terpster said. Yeah. But to be able to buy that like a boost or any other service in the game is sensible. Yeah, that's sensible to do, and you need assets like a little icon or a little. 3D
I don't know. I think we'll see. Like I said, there's new icons, so
yeah.
Watch the space.
There's one shaped like a penis. I can't figure that one out. Where did I see
that?
that?
Yeah, I put that one in.
Oh, was that you? Okay.
I can't believe they went with it. Yeah, I did it as a joke, and they were like, "Yeah, great."
It was very phallic. The second I saw it, now I don't see it in the list. I saw it on MMO Champion. Well, anyway, maybe I was seeing things. Hopeful watching. All right, we're gonna take a tiny break. When we come back, it's your calls and an email. So stay tuned. All right, just need a little save point here. Hold on a second. Okay. Save. Let me just... Yeah, we're good. Okay. Here we go. And we're back.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Why, it's the town crier.
Can't follow my controller thing. Hey, everybody, it's Town Crier time. That means your calls, your emails, and this is where we talk to you. If you'd like to leave a voicemail for the show, 801-471-0462, or you can email us theinstance@gmail.com. We've got a question here or thought about advanced classes.
Hey, this is Andrew from Atlanta, Georgia. I was actually calling for the instance. You guys were discussing new classes, ways to fix classes, all those kinds of things. I'm not sure if we're going to actually get a new class. So it would have to fit the story of the expansion, like maybe a Demon Hunter class when we go after the Burning Legion or something like that. But one of the things that could potentially work would be alternate advancements for existing classes. You know, they hit a certain level, and then, like Dill said, you could morph into another type of class that's an advanced class. Love the show. Talk to you later. Bye.
Problem with that, I don't hate that idea, but the problem with that is that as other MMOs have demonstrated, it's very hard to balance against that and to create parity between classes when they're, because it's essentially new classes. It's you've just called it a different thing. You can say morphing into it means that, oh, now my mage can wield a sword and melee like Patrick's desires, but that's still a new class in essence, and you'd still have to balance it against traditional mages and other classes, and then there's the whole PvP thing.
Traditional mages, I like that.
Yeah, traditional mages.
Them, yeah. They're
start a band.
Conservative about which schools of magic they use. Yeah.
We could be sound like a band. I'll play bass for traditional mages. That sounds all right. What were you going to say, Patrick?
There was the idea of the Path of Titans, Path of the Titans for what was it? Was it? Cataclysm? I can't remember. But it was basically alternate advancement, which is a concept that's existed in MMOs for a while.
Sure.
They scrapped it, though. I think there was a lot of things that didn't work with it or unintended consequences, and they couldn't make it work. That's not to say they can't make it work in the future, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But I would certainly love... The thing is... If you look at it, the alternate advancement already exists in the game. When you reach level cap, all of a sudden your advancement becomes your eye level, and it doesn't give you a lot of new abilities or new ways to play your character, but it is still a form of advancement. So. I don't know. It's as we've been saying for the past 3 weeks. It poses a lot of problems that are not easy to solve.
Yeah, so. I agree. Well, we'll see. Time tells all things. How about this one? That's a similar question.
This is Tom. I play Relics on Earthen Ring. You guys were just talking about possibility of new classes coming up, and I've been thinking about not only a new class but maybe a new role for Dungeons and Raids. We have 2 roles for damage, tanks and DPS. I'm thinking maybe we could add another role for a support class. So we have a healer, and then maybe some kind of class that is more responsible for buffs on the allies and curses on the enemies.
That's an interesting idea.
So, funny story. Are you familiar with vanilla shamans and paladins?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they were, and everyone hated them.
Did they?
You had to worry about... Well, that's what they were doing. You had all of your buffs lasted for like 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was the role of those 2 classes in the game. It was not entirely, but a lot of it was buffing all of the different friends that were fighting with them.
Really inconveniently as well.
And so maybe it was the
like 5-minute buffs
that didn't work.
Right.
Well, 5 minutes was when they increased the duration. Initially, when I came into the game, it was 2 minutes, but I think it was even less before that for the paladins.
Well, what if you could do that again though, but do it in a bursty way? Like, why couldn't support classes do it the way healers do it right now? So healers have got a lot to worry about and a lot to pay attention to. Just give buff classes a lot to worry about and a lot to pay attention to, So the
problem that you introduce in the game at that point is that you add another factor for having your group complete. And you not only need a tank, a healer, a couple of DPS, but you also need this other thing that might or might not be in short supply, which is the support class. And of course, maybe you could make it optional, but then
it's
I don't know.
Not that good. It won't be that unique or special if you can do without it. And the reality is, we all know this game's about min-maxing. Really, when you play it, if there is a easier, better way to play, 9 times out of 10, that'll be the one that everyone does.
Yeah, it's the bane of RPGs generally.
Yeah, I think it's internet connected worlds and communities. We can share and pool man hours that you could never do before in games, so that we can all compare. Well, how does yours work? How did yours work? And off the back of that, find the best ways and share the best ways.
Sure.
Booty Raider in the chat room is saying, Bard. I would love to see a Bard class. Yeah. Like some character that, exactly. Serenading the mob to make it like more susceptible.
There was a Bard in, what was the game?
EverQuest.
There was an EverQuest.
Lord of the Rings Online.
That too, but also the one I played a ton of, which was
Skyrim.
Dark Age of Camelot had a bard, and he was really fun, and it was quite literally playing music all the time. Like, you'd pull off a move, you'd hit an action bar item, and you'd go, do, we're strong and we're kicking ass, and then you'd fight more harder and whatever. It was super weird, but really fun. So yes, but they're never going to do that. Mark my words, bards don't fit in the Warcraft universe. They just don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They'll never.
I'd still love to see one though.
Yeah, they won't do it though. Maybe as an NPC or some sort of weird story arc thing, but never a thing you can level to 100.
That would be an incredible NPC. He would there would be a dungeon where he would accompany you, and he would sing your praises and get you through the fights and everything. Yeah. And by the end of it, you're so sick of the bard that you have to stab him in the face as the last boss.
There's this idea that there's a guy running around with a lute playing music while you're fighting giant fire creatures. It's just ridiculous anyway. I understand it's an interesting idea. Put one in the tavern. Put more of that in there. That'd be fine. That's where they should be anyway. And I want to say Star Wars Galaxies had some kind of bard music class.
Traditionally in Dungeon, God, my voice goes so high.
Traditionally.
The Dungeons and Dragons has a bard class, and that's what it's inspired for.
Yeah, sure. Works on pen and paper, not so much in the game.
Well,
although there is that bard game that's all bard all the time. What's that old RPG called?
Bard's Tale.
Bard's Tale is so good. Like, in a single player environment, that's a hell of a thing. I just don't know how it works.
I think doing a bard well is very hard in a game. Like, I want to be able to write my own songs. I think the only bard that officially exists within Warcraft is Russell.
Yeah.
In Twilight Highlands. Yeah. No, is that where it is?
I think he's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, he is in game as a bard.
He's also coming back. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there exists another bard in name in WoW, but I could be wrong.
And look at Russell. He's super kick-ass. Who wouldn't want to play Russell?
Right. If you're coming to Nerdtacular, I get confirmation he's coming again. So hang out with us.
He is.
Yep, he'll
awesome.
be there.
You could play him at Nerdtacular.
Yeah, you could totally play him.
I'd quite like that if we could mount a GoPro on like a selfie stick behind him, so we get the kind of WoW perspective.
Sure.
And then we can just, kind of just direct him and just be like, yeah, all right, Russell, go to the bar. That's it. Up ahead. Now, hang on, I'm pressing 3 on that. It's your wallet. Open your wallet. There you go. And buy me a beverage.
Perfect.
And then I could just imagine he would just say no. that would be a very, very boring game.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. We got one final question that is so not WoW related that I had to play it. So here you go.
Hello, this is Macho, Mage, Gorgonash. Quick question. Just a general question to you guys. What's your favorite TV show? I just wanted to get that out there, ask you this question. There's so many great shows out there. There's so many shows. There's so many really, really good shows. And I just wanted to ask you guys, what's your favorite show? What show you guys currently watching? And what show you guys just glued to the TV with? That's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.
I think he really wants to know.
I'm not exactly sure what he can he say. Is it shows? Is that what he said? Because
I
I'm not
think
sure.
so. I know. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's favorite shows. Shows, I think. Shows is what he's looking for. We're just kidding, dude. It's a very nice question. All right, so favorite shows. I think he means of all time. So we've never talked about this sort of thing. So start with Terpster. Terpster, what is your favorite TV show ever?
I don't know. Christ.
There's too many, I know.
Yeah, there's far too many. I don't know. Like I really like at the moment Game of Thrones. You know, that's I watched that. If I want to laugh, Always Sunny in Philadelphia is ridiculous and pretty much guaranteed to make you laugh every time. Yeah. And there's so many, and they're all consistently good. Yeah. I don't know. There's just it's like there's too many genres to pick a favorite or overall show.
Yeah. Plus, there's things when we were kids that we probably loved, but now would be kind of dumb now. But like your tastes change. Now is like this glut of things to watch, and it's very difficult to not watch them. But I think I have a favorite, but I want to hear Patrick's first.
Well, there are a few. I think The Wire is an incredibly amazing, fantastic, wonderful show that has captured my soul and heart. I think, so that one might be a surprise for some people. Friday Night Lights.
Oh, you took mine. Damn it.
Really?
Yeah, that was it. No, you're right to love it, though. It's amazing. Hell of a show.
I mean, if you gloss over the first half of the second season, that's not great. But I mean, that show, and when you try to sell it to a snooty Frenchman, you're like, this is a show about like college football and in the heart of America.
High school, but yes, close enough.
I'm sorry,
high school, but
high school, even better. It's like so.
It's a hell of a thing.
Drama, and you have everything, and I love that show. It's so good.
Yeah,
but there are a bunch. Daredevil, actually, I thought it was great.
Yeah, really.
And it's possibly the
I haven't
best.
started watching it yet.
You need to.
It's amazing.
So good. Yeah.
Well, so it's very different from what we would have expected as a Marvel superhero TV show, but it's very dark, gritty, very grounded in the reality of that guy who's not, Iron Man or Thor or any of those basically gods. He's just a guy with sticks, and it does a lot of things really, really well. He's
a guy with he's a guy. It's very dark, very grounded reality, but he has powers. That's one thing that makes him different than say Batman. They're very similar. He's basically Marvel's Batman, always kind of has been. But he's, his heightened senses and all that stuff is more than just your normal heightened sense if you're blind. But aside from that, yes, I agree with you 100%. It's very, very good, and it's exactly what I didn't necessarily expect, but it's exactly what I'd hoped, because that is his comic persona. He has previously, in all the Defenders, really, the quote-unquote Defenders, their storylines, the Luke Cages, the Punishers, and the Daredevils, and the whatever, Jessica Joneses of the world have always been dark. That's their whole thing. So the fact that they have a place to be dark now, and that we can see this in this way, is nothing short of awesome. It's really good, Terps. You should watch it.
It goes beyond that, though. It's when he fights, he gets exhausted, he gets hurt. Of course he gets up again, but you feel his human frailty, even though he's a very powerful human, he's still a regular person.
Yeah, he gets the crap kicked out of him on the regular, and you're right. You're totally right. It doesn't hold back, and it's great. It's a fantastic time. People should be watching that. But for me, FNL, Friday Night Lights, is maybe one of the best dramas ever made, so I kind of fall to that. Just love that show so much.
It's so good. Have you ever watched it, Mark?
I haven't. No, exactly. But I always thought it wouldn't be that good. You talked about it a little bit on Movielicious, I seem to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I obviously
on the face
I
of
don't
it,
really value your opinion. But Scott says it's really good, so I might give it a go.
Yeah, if you're worried that it's just going to shove Americana, Texas football down your throat, that's not what the show is really about. It's almost like saying Game of Thrones isn't really about dragons. I mean, it is, but dragons feature, but it's not really about dragons. It's about these relationships and all the stuff that goes on between them and the politics of that world. In the very same way, it's like Friday Night Lights is really not about football. It features, but it's not about it. And if you like football, all the better. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Freaking great.
And The Walking Dead, by the way, I can't not mention it. I've loved every season and almost every episode, including the ones where people thought it was too slow. I thought it's brilliant. And it's amazing that we have, a heroic fantasy show and a zombie show being the most watched shows on TV right now. It's our culture that's winning. So go dragons and zombies.
The nerds have the power. One final email. This comes to us from Jose. I assume it's not Josie, so I'll say Jose. It says, I've not really played WoW for a week now. I tried HOTS and went down a rabbit hole and do not want to come out of it. I enjoy playing a couple of heroes and cannot decide which one to stick with. What is your guys' favorite hero? I don't think guys is a word, but whatever.
I used to really like Uther before the patch.
Yeah.
And he was, I mean, he's still pretty cool, but he's a little bit different. I'm playing mostly Zeratul, just because he's super cheese.
Do you run into that problem where you are matched with a bunch of people who don't know how Zeratul works, and they just see you standing there and they think you're being a butt and yell at you the whole match?
No, we tend to do a 5-stack, so I normally get yelled at, but not for that reason. It's normally because I'm playing really badly.
Yeah.
But I think when you play a 5-stack, you get matched up against other people in a 5.
Yeah.
And so we don't win that many. But yeah, it's good fun.
I'm winning more than I lose. If I'm to pick favorite characters, it's Thrall, and it's... I like them in this order. I think for me it goes Thrall, Vala, Jaina, Sergeant Hammer, and then a bunch of others and I like all of them, but I really, really like those top few. And for me, Thrall is my kind of go-to. I just can wreak some serious havoc, especially mid and end game with that guy, and I freaking love it. So yeah, that's for me. And Patrick, I don't know how much heroes you're playing these days, but who do you like? Who do you go to?
So the amount of heroes that I'm playing these days is roughly about none, more or less. So my hero, the hero that I prefer is, I think the guy with the horns is pretty nice, and there's the little flying dragon thing. That's yeah. No, I don't play heroes. I mean, I usually like support characters, and I remember I mentioned it at one point. I really liked Lily because she was easy to get to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And that actually I enjoyed the game I played when I was playing with Lily. So
we found an interesting experience the other night. We played a bunch of custom games where it was us versus like two teams kind of set up, but we only had 4 per team. So each side had a slot open, and we found that the computer will automatically slot in Lily if there's a hole, almost every single time. Lily goes in if there's an open slot, which I thought was really interesting. That
you shouldn't say that about her. She's a lovely lady. You know.
We should capture this merc camp, she's always saying. She's always so excited for everything. But man, I haven't had that much fun in a video game in a multiplayer environment since maybe my early Quake and like Unreal days. Like just yelling, screaming, laughing on TeamSpeak, just having the time of your freaking life. And props to Blizzard for bringing that back for me, because I haven't felt that in a long time. Very long time.
And I just have to mention Sunbun saying that I Lily like Lily.
That's it.
I like it.
Hold on, I need to mark that moment so I can capture that out. All right, excellent. That's going to do it. Thanks for your emails and your calls. Once again, email us, themorningstream@gmail. That's the wrong address.
No, but dude, send us the morning stream.
theinstance@gmail.com. Call us 801-471-0462. I think that's going to do it. You guys have anything to mention this week? Patrick, you got anything going on?
So Nashville is apparently an excellent show as well, kind of like in the spirit of Friday Night Lights.
I've heard that too, yeah.
And so we're not talking about Star Wars?
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
Let's do this real quick.
Wow.
Okay, one last thing. So Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights is Kyle Chandler, who played Coach Taylor. He is in that Bloodline show on Netflix, and that is also really freaking good. Totally different, but awesome.
Bloodline?
Yeah, Bloodline. Amazing show.
What is it about?
It's about this family that owns this inn in the Florida Keys. There's Sissy Spacek and Sam, I forgot the guy's name. Freaking anyway, they're great actors. They're the parents, and all these kind of grown children help them run it. One of them is Kyle Chandler. He doesn't really run the family business, but he's a detective on the islands, so he's like a policeman guy. There's this brother that comes back who's been estranged, and then the whole thing just starts to unravel, the history of this family, and some weird crap goes down by the end. It is fantastic. Really well acted. Amazing stuff. You should watch, Patrick. Okay. I think you'd like it.
All right.
Anyway, so can we just talk about the Star Wars thing just briefly?
Oh, and Hearthstone. Phones, it works.
Oh yeah, it works on phones. Yeah,
really good.
Really, yeah. In fact, so good I forgot to mention it. It's just a piece of cake. You just fire it up, and there it is.
It's literally better than the iPad app.
I kind of agree.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think it is. I'm with Terpster.
Like in terms of stability and smoothness, because it's actually made for that device rather than just like, guys, just crop it down. It fits. It works.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like a much better offering.
That's where I'm at. I feel like the iPad version is fine, but it mirrors the desktop in a way that feels like it wasn't exactly custom built for it. But this thing feels like the phone in mind the entire time without losing the core experience you'd get on the PC. I think it's really, really well done.
That's funny.
And I don't even like the
it
game.
felt to me like it was a little bit crammed. It works. It's definitely capable, but it's a little bit cramped.
Well, what are you running, a 6 or 6? Are you running the Duke, the big one?
6.
Okay, me too. That's more crampy than a 6 Plus. I think 6 Plus users are like, oh yeah, this is like a tablet, but for you and I, it's like a little bit smaller. Yeah. All right, so this happened. Here, I'm going to just play a little taste of this here. Hold on.
My sister has it.
You have it. We all have it.
You have that power too.
Oh, the power. We have the power. So anyway, Mark Hamill doing his thing. So what did you guys think of that thing? It's pretty awesome. Like
it was amazing.
I'm beside myself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I was like a
so
little kid.
I'm as I was saying earlier in the show, I'm really not a big Star Wars nut. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it well enough, and especially obviously, the first trilogy, the second one. Let's not get into.
Yeah, we all hate that. It's fine. We're all together on that.
Exactly.
Doesn't count.
And
it's poo.
And what actually got me completely was the last shot.
Oh, this right here.
Chewie, we're home.
it is sending shivers down my spine right now.
Sorry, let me hit that again. Yeah, no, dude, it's just it hits all the right points. There's something I want to say about that final scene though that nobody's been talking about, and that is that
copy of
what?
It's a equivalent copy of another scene from.
Oh no, that's not it. Here's where it gets me. That final scene where Chewie and Han are standing there, and he says that. The reason that works is it's more than just it's Chewie and Han. That's a big deal, okay? But it's more than that. There's something about seeing Harrison Ford that makes you go,
old man.
Oh, they're not kidding around. This is really Star Wars. This isn't some plasticky version of Star Wars. This isn't all new actors we don't know yet and haven't proven themselves yet. We're not sure about J.J. Abrams because Star Trek and whatever, and we don't know if he can transition. It's none of those things. This is a piece of glue from the universe that shaped our childhoods, and there he is in the flesh tying it together, and there's something powerful about that. There's something that really got me. And it's more than just, the nostalgia of seeing Harrison Ford and, and look how old he is or any of that. None of that is the big deal. The big deal to me is this is a bona fide star who has a giant, respectable body of work between now and back when he got his real start in Star Wars, where it really mattered his star was on the rise. And to see him back in that role, not only willing to, but smiling for the first time that I've seen him smiling about in the last 10 movies he's been in. Like, I'm just all in. I am all in. If they screw this up, I'll never believe in anything again. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's magical. I mean, for our generation, I think seeing Han Solo in his Han Solo outfit, which apparently he hasn't changed in 30 years, and Chewie, who hasn't aged either. It just works. It's irrational. It's just it brings us into that place that we were hoping the trilogy, the infamous trilogy, would create, and it creates that kind of in a time when Marvel is creating an entire cinematic universe. Mm-hmm. It's something that, if any franchise deserves it, Star Wars does. Mm. And apparently they're going for that as well, between the new trilogy and the side movies that they're going to be releasing every other year. It's creating that gigantic lore, that gigantic body of fantasy that that universe deserves. And that's the first piece of that. It's bringing us back to the beginning, to sort of make it explode into all directions with a coherent scope of story that universe deserves.
Yeah,
so
and I'll tell you what else got me.
Excited.
Everyone wants to talk about that last scene, but one of the things that actually got me right in the feels, right in the square in the heart muscle, was
the Vader meth mask.
No, not even that. It was the hand. It was the cyborg hand, the removed hand of Luke Skywalker reaching up and resting it on R2-D2 as they stared off into whatever fiery abyss they were looking into. There's something about that.
I didn't even catch that.
Oh yeah, that's an amazing little moment right there, because it's Luke narrating the thing. It's when he says, I have it, and I know that stuff's a speech from that's all kind of cold from the old movie,
original trilogy.
But to see his hand go up and do that, there's something about that. I don't know what it is, but it just got me. It got me there, and I thought, well, if that's all I get to see of the original cast, I'll be okay. No idea.
I was
they were
wondering,
throw that in the
like
end.
maybe he was born with it, or maybe it's Maybelline, because it did feel like at some point he was going to say just about some luscious hair and it's just this beautiful. I just wasn't quite sure.
Well, it's hard to say. You never know. Anyway, we are very excited about that movie and can't wait. So Christmas, hurry the hell up.
Well, we have Age of Ultron that's coming up right, in a week from now. So
yeah,
exactly.
By the time we record the next show, I will have seen Age of Ultron possibly twice, maybe even 3 times.
Yeah, I will have at least once, maybe twice.
I got invited to the premiere, but sadly I cannot go. But that would have been cool.
Yeah,
I could have touched them.
What is more important than going to the premiere?
I don't know exactly. Well, things on Reddit, someone saw the film and they said it's terrible.
What?
And so on
I saw that.
our movies, and it's like I don't know how true that is, but it would be interesting to see.
I guarantee it will not be
totally
terrible.
Imagine it.
I guarantee it will not be terrible.
I could imagine it being terrible, but I'm hoping. I'm really, really, really hoping that it's not.
I'm going to have to go. I've got to run soon.
Oh, you got to go soon. Yeah, we should let you go then. Well, we're done now. So thanks everybody for being here. The show's over. If you would like to hang out with us more, well then tune in next week. Okay. Bye now.
Turks are such a quitter.
I know, isn't he? Where do you have to go? The baby crying or something?
Possibly.
Something like that.
I mean,
jeez.
Babies.
What a bunch of boobs. Now all the Star Wars talk just has me all freaked out again. I got the chills yesterday. They wouldn't go away. I couldn't wait to show my kids. They avoided it at school. They came home. They were freaking out. Oh, man. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm that excited about this. But
my 3 movies this year are going to be, the most excitable I am about movies are Age of Ultron, Star Wars, and Hateful Eight from Quentin Tarantino. Those are the 3 I care about. Yeah.
What is that?
That's his new Western he's doing, and it looks freaking awesome. There's a teaser trailer out that doesn't show much, but totally worth checking out.
Okay, I'm going to watch it now.
Yeah, go look at that, and you and I will talk later, Patrick. Patrick Beja, everybody. Take a bow, Patrick. Take a bow. See you later. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Uh-oh. Did I just kill the stream? No.
Yo.
Nope. I didn't.
Yo.
Let's hope I don't lock up today. That'd be really nice. We think we know what it is now, finally.
Good.
GPU problem. They're going to either have to send me new cards or I have to go schedule a thing. So.
Ooh, the GPU. I hate problems with the GPU.
The GPU is the worst poo. Of all the poos, GPU's my least favorite. Some crappy AMD, shitty ball shit. All right, we're going. Here we go, everyone. Here we go.
All right.
Let's see. There's that. Okay, here we go. It begins in 3, 2, 1. Coming up on TMS. What's the deal with New Coke?
Furious Frozen.
Pod is on the minds of all the peoples.
We have some good news on X-Men stuff.
Infinity and beyond.
Recommendals.
Tom's Tech Time.
Your emails and more on this episode of The Morning Stream.
Mopping the old-fashioned way can seem like the biggest job in the world. You need Light and Thirsty, the revolutionary new mop from O Cedar. Light and Thirsty has durable cloth strips that absorb 20% more than ordinary mop strings. It wrings out with just a twist and even stands up to machine washing and drying. So if you'd like to cut your mopping chores down to size, get new Light and Thirsty from O Cedar, the best mop you've ever used, or your money back.
Has the world finally gone to hell in a handbasket?
Many Bothans died to bring you this information. This is the Morning Stream.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to TMS, the Morning Stream. Hey, you just put a link in my Skype there.
I did.
Ooh,
that,
what do I want to
see?
see?
Ziggurat is Lando saying, all right.
All right.
But it's filmed by Joe holding a camcorder in front of the TV.
All right, well, we'll deal with it. So this comes from, by the way, a text. So to give some context before the show started.
Oh, yeah, that's right. People weren't here.
Yeah,
for
they
that,
weren't here for
podcast
that.
Listeners.
Daryl sent a text saying that in McConaughey style, that Lando Calrissian of Star Wars fame says, all right, in the movies. And I don't remember this at all. So we have a handy cam in front of a television to prove it. Here it goes. Oh, well, that's different. That's not the same.
That's so different.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, it does seem it fits his character and just the actor in general, right? To say something like that, sure. But the context for that, all right, is entirely different than the context.
He's not checking out some Bespin hotties, walking by.
Right.
Hey, Lobot, check those three out, huh? All right. It's good to be the chairman.
He is he is the best worst of Star Wars. He really is.
Oh.
What I mean by that is there is the worst of Star Wars, like there's Jar Jar Binks and there's crap like that. That's just bad. Then there's the best of Star Wars, which is Han Solo and Chewbacca and lightsabers and tauntauns. Sure. AT-ATs and stuff like that. AT-ATs, all that stuff. I know people get mad about which way you say that. So
AT-ATs or AT-ATs?
I don't care, people.
How about AT-ATs?
AT-ATs. I like it. I like it.
That way you piss off everybody equally.
But then there's greatest baddest. And I think that's Lando. Who else is there?
I don't know. There's just something, aside from Darth Vader, he's the only dude walking around in a cape. And he's walking around in a cape because he has to walk around in a cape.
I didn't remember. I forgot. He has a cape all the time.
He has a cape all the time.
Oh my gosh, that is the greatest thing about him.
Darth Vader, it's probably some sort of Sith thing or some sort of religious reason.
Right.
But Lando gets up in the morning to run his Tabana gas manufacturing plant, and he says, "I'm gonna wear a cape."
That's right.
I'm the comptroller of this facility, and I'm gonna wear a cape.
He is the comptroller, and one of his buddies over there with half head robot head man.
Yeah, Lobot.
Lobot keeps track of all the capes. Got a whole closet full of those things.
Let's see. What have we here? Which cape should I wear today? How about the blue one?
We got to get that Death Star. He's just so blah all the time. He's the best worst. He really is the best worst.
Oh, I love Lando.
Yeah, he's great. That's my whole point. I don't want it ever to change. I want him back in this new movie. If he doesn't make at least some kind of cameo or doing it wrong, bring back Lando. In fact, I wonder if the fact that he didn't make any kind of appearance at the celebration means anything. If should we take that as, no Lando. Nobody thinks of, not Carl Weathers. What's his name? What's his name? Not Carl
Billy
Weathers.
D. Williams?
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks of Billy D. Williams anymore when it comes to this stuff.
No, it's funny. The Saturday Night Live skit where they talked about the new movies and all the elderly original cast members coming back.
Yeah.
They did have Lando and a Twi'lek dancer as his wife. The fantastic Leslie Jones playing a Twi'lek dancer. That's right. That's what I thought you said.
Yeah. He didn't walk up with like his mask and then pull it down just to make sure you knew it was Lando inside.
That's right. I'm going to risk blowing my disguise so that the camera knows it's me.
Best worst. All right. Hey, let's do this. And Daryl says it's exactly how what's his name does it. I have to capture it now. No, we just played it, Daryl. We capture it, but you're wrong.
But you're wrong. Yeah,
you're dead wrong. Let's get into it. It's the morning stream. It's Brian, it's Scott, and we're here. We're doing it for the 29th of April, 2015. I cannot believe this month is almost over.
We're just about done with April.
Yeah, we're done with April.
Sorry, Viking Lass.
Yeah, your time has come. So sorry.
Right. Bring on the May.
Yeah, whoever May is, let's do it. I thought this was interesting, and I wanted to bring it up at the top of the show because culturally, you and I were both impacted, I would say, in our high school years, our formative years, by the new Coke campaign.
Right.
It seemed like a big deal at the time, and it was because the world's most notable brand, certainly at the time, I suppose even today it's still true, Coca-Cola really is the biggest brand in the world, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, Apple, Coca-Cola, Ford.
Yeah. Who else is there? Let's think about that for a second. GE used to kind of have that. They don't really now.
Nike,
yeah. That's a good one. They got to be one more. McDonald's, the Golden Arches.
McDonald's, duh, of course.
Sure, and ever more so.
I was even going to compare the new Coke thing to McDonald's saying, "Hey, we've decided to switch all of our meat to horse meat."
Yeah, exactly, because it's kind of not all that different than that. I mean, that's maybe more extreme because you have to eat it instead of drink it. But and Starbucks is on the rise to.
Starbucks has probably overtaken a couple of the ones on our list.
Yeah,
right?
Good job, America. We've done it. Anyway,
as I sip my Starbucks beverage.
Oh, very nice. Did you run out and get that today?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
there was a deal where I could get a bunch of bonus stars if I went and got an iced soy latte.
Speaking of which, just got to throw this out before I forget about it. The Chick-fil-A. You know the Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah, I know the Chick-fil-A. Mm-hmm.
Big chicken restaurant-y thing, homophobic joint, that kind of stuff. Just kidding. That's all over with now. Right. They have a thing now called a lemon. Oh, crap. I'm not going to say this right. A lemon freeze something. But it's basically, imagine an Orange Julius, which you've had in a mall at some point in your life. Imagine that and whatever goodness comes from that, but put lemon in there instead.
Ooh, there it is right there.
So good.
The new frosted lemonade.
That's
so
it.
Tasty, you'll get the chills is what they say.
Oh, geez. It's so tasty, you'll hate gay people too.
A hand-spun combination of our freshly squeezed lemonade or diet lemonade and our famous vanilla ice dream.
It's really good. I was blown away, kind of. Like, I don't expect things like that from a fast foodie kind of place, but it was really good.
It's like their page was designed by the guy who said Metro. I'm going to say Metro for Windows 7.
Yep. Let's say Metro, everybody. Like that, the flat, big square, blocky thing.
Yes, exactly. It looks like what's that magazine app that makes all your Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds look like a magazine?
Oh, Flipbook.
Flipbook.
Or
it looks like a big Flipbook thing.
Flipboard, Flipbook, Flipboard,
Flipboard.
Flipboard, that's it.
Yep.
You could capture out what we just said and it would sound really funny.
Flipboard.
I'm marking it. All right. So new Coke, it was a thing. It happened, and it came out when we were teenagers, you and I, and it was a big deal. And I remember, and I've admitted on the show that I liked it. I thought it was good, and a lot of people didn't like it. It was Pepsi-ified, kind of. It was sweeter, very much more like Pepsi. And I've kind of realized over the years I'm more of a Pepsi man, really, in the end. I don't know why. Just like it better.
No, I am too. I respect that.
Yeah, and I like a good Coke. It's nothing wrong with Coke. It's not like I won't have one if they don't have Pepsi, but I kind of do like Pepsi. Now, my wife's the opposite. She hates Pepsi, thinks it's terrible.
But now you're not drinking any of that stuff, right?
No, I'm off the pop. No pop for me. Yeah, I haven't had soda of any sort for probably about 7 months or something. It's been a while, but I was never really hooked on it anyway. I've never been much of a pop guy. I think what freaked me out is I had some friends in their late teens, early 20s who got kidney stones because they were drinking 44 ounces of crap every day.
Oh, God.
It kind of put me off. Like,
that would do it.
I'm like, I don't want those, so I'm going to not drink it as much. And I just never got really hooked on it. I mean, I know people that have to have 44 ounces of Diet Coke every day or they'll die. And I can't do that.
Oh.
And it's no good for me now. But anyway, Deadpool writers, this is a really strange thing, but the people writing the Deadpool movie are planning a feature film based on the 1985 New Coke marketing disaster.
Wow, right in their wheelhouse.
Right? You're like, Deadpool, bring on the Coke documentary.
Then it only makes sense that they would do a Coke documentary.